And we are back. Anthony and Joe are no longer on the table. We have two new players, although there's another Soulblight list. Shocker. Soulblight list doing well.
Soulblight doing pretty dang well, except not last round. Last round it was a Soulblight massacre.
What's up? The lieutenant has the 9-inch.
Going into round 4, we had of these 6 players that were 3-0, there were 3 Soulblight players, and all of them lost.
Ooh, so there's a counter out there, and apparently we found it. Not sure who found it and what it was.
I think the counter is just trying to play slightly better than the Soulblight, but the last mission it is wild. It comes down to like priority rolls a lot in dictating the board state, and Soulblight likes to be able to dictate the board state there. And if you could take that away from them, it's pretty big.
Yep, that is a huge loss for them if that happens. And so these guys they're setting up terrain now.
So
we have
Mike Maccabee, who is running a Soulblight Gravelords. He's running Yurkos with 100 zombies. Roll our eyes, but they're all minimum units, so he's got 5 units of 20. And then we have Jeffrey. I don't know if that's how to pronounce his name. Maybe we'll get a correction.
Jeffrey. Yeah. All right, he's good. We got the thumbs up from the table.
And for the first time on the channel this weekend, we have Stormcast Eternals playing Hallowed Knights, Scions of the Storm, so they'll be able to deep strike some units. So,
3 markers,
3
objectives, not a crazy mission.
Ours
pretty
for
simple.
the taking is our mission here. Basically, there are 3 objectives, kind of an L shape of a deployment. Preferably?
Go ahead.
So, essentially, your opponent's home objective is worth 2 points if you take it. The other ones are 1 point each. If you hold the center objective with the Galician champion, you get 1 extra point. So it's a max turn score of 6 points. We'll see if anybody's able to score that 6 points. Your own home objective still only worth 1 point. And that's it for the special rules. No hold 1, hold 2, hold more. It's just 1 point for your home, 1 point for your center, 2 points for your opponents, and then an extra point if you have a Galician champion on the center objective and you're controlling it. For list, Jeffrey's Stormcast Eternals, Hallowed Knights, Scions of the Storm. Be able to deep strike them in. Grand strategy, take what's there, so more units in his opponent's territory at the end of the battle. He has Gardas Steel Soul. Gardas has a big bubble of 5 aboard saves for units holding than 12 of him. He's got a Knight Zephyros, only 100 points. It can teleport around, so instead of moving, it just kind of rides through the ether,
as it were. Yeah.
And can just teleport 9 inches away. And then his other hero is a Lord Castellan, who's able to just hand out a +1 save to a unit. It's got the Master Magic command trait, so we can re-roll casting with the Arcane Tome, so essentially a re-rollable Mystic Shield.
Yep.
And then he's got Tunnel Master, so we could just sneakily teleport around. So he's got 2 heroes, 2 Galician champs to be able to teleport around.
People be tough. Sit an objective.
Battle line, we've got a minimum of 5 Vanquishers, 5 Vindictors, and then 10 Judicators with Boltstorm crossbows. These guys are going to have a lot of shots in the shooting phase. Not quality of shots, but quantity, which is important against minimum units of zombies.
Correct, but they are not in the sniper formation.
They are not, but
it doesn't matter too much. I mean, for Mike's list, it doesn't matter too much, but it is something that in some lists you need to consider. Picking up those GCs, even with low-quality shots, doing 5 wounds to somebody who has a 4-up save, even if it is not the end of the world.
And then rounding out the list, we've got 4 Stormdrake Guard that are all armed with Warblades, and then a unit of 2 Fulminators. And we're in a battle regiment. So his list is a 1-drop. I don't think Mike's is a 1-drop. And then his Holy Command, Call for Aid, so if either the Vanquishes or the Vindictors die, once per battle he can spend a command point and just bring them back. Wholly within 12 of one of his heroes.
But he has to, the important part is he has to have the command point available at that time, so it's a resource held issue, and he has to be able to issue a command. Because there are ways to stop people from issuing commands. So if you can't issue a command, then you can't.
I'm guilty of stopping that once or twice.
Yeah, me too. Playing Stinky Fly Guy.
Stinky flies.
Stinky Flies. It's all of a sudden like, cool, you paid a lot of points for this, but...
So Mike running a kind of more traditional Vehicos to what we've been seeing people tossing around online of Luster Domination versus Grand Strat holding more grave sites. He's got a Necromancer with a Terminus clock, so at the start of his opponent's turn on a 3-up, he'll be -1 to casting. It's only going to affect that reroll Mystic Shield cast. He also has Tunnel Master on the Necromancer, so we can teleport him. Radikar the Beast as his general. Personally, I'm not a fan of Radikar, but seems to be very popular with people.
Yeah. He gets mad and does damage. I think that's how people look at it. It's for about 100 points, 150 points less than a zombie dragon.
Yeah, I mean, he's always -1 to hit and wound, but I think people are obsessed with the fact that if Radikar charges, he gets +1 attack to everything holding within 12 of him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's pretty great profile. Just checking his command trait here. Driven by Death Stench, so he has a whole bubble of reroll charges for units wholly within 9 of him.
Right, so reroll charges, extra attacks, there's a lot.
And then the standard of the Overwatch, so every time his opponent spends a command point on a 4-up, Mike gets one.
Yeah.
He's also got the Vampire Lord on foot with the Ulfin Phylactery. So this is the bubble of if you're wholly within 9, your summonable units get +1 to their ward saves.
Yep.
And the spell Soul Pike, 24-inch range. Anytime that unit charges, you roll number of dice equal to charge every 4 ups of mortal wound.
So they turn into Stonehearts.
It goes on your opponent's unit.
Yeah, okay.
So it's a reverse
you make
Stonehorn?
someone get hit by Stormhearts. Imaginary.
Stop hitting
Stormhearts.
yourself. Stop hitting yourself.
And you can charge with multiple units in that case?
On
you
Soul
pick-
Pike, if you roll the 9 up unmodified, it goes off on 3 ups instead, I think. It just becomes a little
You
bit
pick
stronger.
1 unit, so if I charge with 3 units of Direwolves, I'm going to roll mortal wounds.
No. What happens is Soul Pike is you pick an enemy unit within 24.
Yep.
And until your next hero phase, whenever that enemy unit makes a charge, you roll. So it's a deterrent. Yeah, it's a deterrent for your opponent to charge.
Yep. Okay. That's
Recently,
that's
I
very
played Scooter, and he had his little mega boss with like 3 wounds left, and he wasn't in combat. I put Soul Pike on him, and I was like, okay, you can charge.
Yep.
And he tried to just eat in because he didn't have much left, and
If he does, he's...
little mega boss on foot just died on a charge.
Yep.
So it's very powerful to like deterrent of a tool or something's pretty weak. You could just put Soul Pike on it and said, you die if you charge.
24-inch range?
24-inch range.
That is... Man.
I mean, just like everything else in Soulblight. Pretty
that's
strong.
True, that's true. The spells in this book, without the 9+ being like duplicates of the spells, it's fantastic.
It's also got Belladama, which I'm in love with Belladama. She's so undercosted at 170 points. Inherently +1 casting, unbinding, dispelling, passes off wounds to nearby direwolves on 3 ups. So she's already got a pretty durable 9 wounds. She has 2 spell cast, and she's got 2 on her War Scroll. One of them is absolutely amazing. It does D3 mortal wounds to a unit within 18, and if it slays any models, you get to set up that many models as a unit of direwolves and add it to your army.
Oh.
So if you kill just 1 model with it, you get a unit of 1 direwolves.
But that's...
So, which means you can tag units in combat with it. But the other wild thing with it is the Endless Legion's battle trait for Soulblight doesn't specify units that were in your starting army when they're slain to come back at half strength. So that 1 direwolf, if it dies,
can come back.
On a 4-up on your opponent's turn, you can bring back 1 direwolf because it's rounded up.
So, yeah, interesting. So
her other spell...
Get a direwolf.
Yep.
Direwolf dies, get a direwolf.
Get a direwolf back.
Okay, that sounds
Sounds like it probably should be FAQ'd, but kind of missed something. Her other War Scroll spell is basically under the Killing Moon, which is a ridiculous aura of 24 inches. So if you're wholly within 24 inches of her, your 6s to hit become 2 hits.
Ooh.
And we'll get to why that goes even more crazy when we get to what else Mike has on his list. She's got Vile Transference, which, I mean, you're only going to cast that if you really need it, because her War Scroll spells are so good.
Yep.
He's also got Torgilius the Chamberlain, whole whopping aura of wholly within 12 inches, you have a 5-up ward save for your summonable units. And then because he's a death mage, he could take Fading Vigor is a choice here. I don't like that one. It's only a -1 to attack profile. I mean, his Necromancer has Prison of Grief, so no Waste Away in this list. I think Waste Away is probably one of the best spells in this book for -1 to wound and damage. Which, if you get that off on something,
be good against the dragons or the fulminators. Like just
yeah, it's an absolute insane. Especially if you get Waste Away off twice, you put it on 2 units. I think not having that in this list is could be a little bit improved here. And then his 6-0 slot is Gorslav, which at the end of your movement phase you can bring back one of your slain units at half strength. 9 inches away.
But that could be a single direwolf coming back yet again.
Could be.
Could be.
Now you can't replace a unit that was destroyed more than once, so basically it's a fail-safe. So if he has multiple slain units, he can potentially bring back 2 on a turn.
Oh, okay.
And because even if you only have 1, you can roll, see if you got it back from Endless Legions. Nope. Okay, I'm gonna use Gorslav to bring it back.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
So what else? What the heck is in this list? We got 10 direwolves in the list. I think anytime you're running Belladama, always just start with 10 direwolves in your list, because you can automatically give her those pass-offs in case you're playing at something like KO with a lot of shooting. Plus direwolves, which is amazing. I love them in enemy lists because that 6-inch pile-in, 10-inch movement, and then as a screen, there's 60 mil bases, so you cover a lot of
ground.
Yeah.
Even 5, and he's got units of 10.
They come in units of 10.
10. Oh, they come in 10.
Yeah. But when they come back, even as 5, it's still a lot of board space.
A lot of space. Just think about the cavalry models playing in the past, how much space they can absorb.
We also have 5 units of minimum 20 Deadwalkers, which, when you're running this many minimum units of Deadwalkers, that's where Gorslav's value comes into play, where you're able to bring back multiple units, more reliable to bring them back. If you reinforce them, Gorslav isn't as needed because you don't necessarily lose those all at once. But he also has a unit of 20 Graveguard, all with the Great White Blades. Going to be hitting like a truck, especially if he gets the full combo of Exploding Sixes from Belladama.
Yep.
So you're generating more hits.
+1 attack.
+1 attack from Radicard being charging.
Yep.
And then he's also got the Vampire Lord, so you can essentially get +2 attacks on his Graveyard, so you get 4 attacks each.
And 6s to wound
And
to 2 mortals.
You could be in a position where your Graveyard are already in combat, Radicard charges, and then you use the Realm spell for another +1 attack,
The realm
and you get the 5 attack each. And then rounding out the list, we've got the Corpse Cart with the Unholy Lodestone to add +1 casting to all the wizards there, within 12 there. So Belladama goes to a +2, everybody else goes to a +1. Just madness. And that'll round out the list. He's got Galician Veterans on the Graveguard and 2 of the zombie units and the Direwolves. Don't necessarily think you need that on the Graveguard because the Great White Blades are already at 2-inch reach.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily need the Galician Veterans on them.
If you have the space, you might as well.
Because he's running the double Warlord too, for which, for the extra enhancements.
In for a penny, in for a pound. If you're gonna go
So
ahead
it's going to be very high
if
drops.
you're
He's
gonna have a really
already
high
at,
drop. You might as well have a high drop and get everything you want.
he's at 12 drops with this. I don't think you've got the standard the Ulfenwatch to get more command points back on 4-ups. So it's not necessarily, and you've already got reroll charges built in the Radikar, so it's not an army you necessarily need the extra command points from the Warlord. So you could take it down to some command entourages, and if you don't need the Galician Vets because your Graveguard are 2-inch reach, you could essentially package this entire list into a 5-drop with just 1 command entourage. And because I've yet to see the Terminus Clock, really. We saw it on stream in one of our earlier games,
for a lot.
and it just didn't really have any impact.
No.
But that's our list.
But even
Mike?
so, the difference between playing a list that has a lot of things in the grave is you don't actually care about first turn as much. And that's the important part. So whether you're 5-drop or 12-drop, it doesn't actually matter.
Sometimes it's nice to be able to just force your opponent to go first, not accomplish anything, and basically have 1 turn down where they're not chewing through all of that meat of your army.
Yeah, I guess it's true. But
Essentially, also, Mike is also 10 points less than his opponent, so he does have a Bloodthirsty Triumph to be able to reroll charge, which is absolutely amazing for those zombies because they don't have a unit champ. So we can potentially bring one back and then next turn have a rerollable charge.
Or the Graveguard going in some place that need to make the charge. He has even if he's out of command points, has a freebie.
Yeah, which, I mean, with two Warlord battalions and that standard, I don't think he's going to be running low on command points. He's basically playing like Pretender Slanesh, where he's just swimming in them and probably offering his opponent an extra command point a turn if he wants. Say, hey, I've got plenty, do you want one?
Fun fact, we can house rule that Michael gets some depravity points if he does it. They don't do anything for anybody, but it's fun.
But maybe we can summon a Keeper of Secrets to the
can.
table.
And kill the 40k guys.
We do have 40k on the table next to us. I don't see Chaos on the table. Very interesting. Josh, am I pinch me because I think I just saw somebody smile at a 40k table. Yeah, he's smiling at a 40k table, ladies and gentlemen.
We got it.
There is excitement.
There is excitement. We got all kinds of drama.
They have guard and space marines.
Yeah, I think there was some Cadian list up there at the top.
Space wolves.
Stinky marines.
There's Space Wolves versus. Looks like some guard versus Space Wolves at the table next to us. A lot of infighting amongst the Imperium and these days.
This is 9th edition, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I think they do the pre-release next week.
Can you believe it?
Yeah, I knew it soon. I didn't know whether it was...
ACO is probably...
9 editions. You'd think they'd get their game right after 9 editions, but they got to go to a 10th edition.
It gets better.
Unbelievable.
It gets loaded, and then they have to start it again.
They gotta make new models better to make money. That's
Yeah.
Keep us all.
So, our Stormcast player is completely dropped.
Speaking of space marines,
I'm just gonna take a peek to see what he has off the table because he's completely deployed, but he is Scions. And then Mike is deploying basically his entire army now because he's got so many drops that we might be able to come back in an hour and he's still deploying. Pretty much.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what...
So, as we expect,
you're smiling. That's the important part.
the 10 Judicators with Bolt Storms are off the table, as well as Gardas for that 5-up ward aura, because there's nothing that's really going to threaten Stormcast turn 1, or you're going to need that 5-up ward on the table.
All the Soulblight shooting.
Yeah, so much. So many tickles. And then, as well as the 2 Fulminators, which, I mean, why would you ever start Fulminators on the table? They're supposed to just pop up somewhere, charge, do 1,000,000 damage.
Don't forget about the shooting attack.
Oh, they do breed for some mortal wounds. I
breed.
have seen it add up. I have seen it really spike sometimes.
I have been on the receiving end of 4 fulminators doing 12 mortal wounds, and it is not fun.
So I only see what looks like. So Mike did start the 20 Graveguard on the table and 20 zombies. So it looks like there are 80 zombies in the grave. Much like the last game we had on stream where Joe Brigano had 80 zombies in his list and he started all of them in the grave.
Yeah.
Staging area.
Here comes the handshake to start the game. And Stormcast has given top of 1 to Soulblight Gravelords. No real reason for Stormcast to take the top of this turn. There's really nothing to accomplish. Is interesting though because he did leave his home objective completely open, so Mike can just walk those dire wolves right on over, and we have Desecrate for our battle tactic round 1. So I'm expecting essentially a 6-point turn here out of Mike.
Yeah. Yeah.
Heroic action, we're gonna add.
Without saying more, yes.
We'll add one more wolf.
I mean, I think it's going to be pretty obvious what's going to happen. He's going to run the wolves over, or even just drop zombies on both of those objectives on the left and right. Probably tunnel masters in the middle, surround it in zombies, and say,
We're gonna do.
here we go.
Oh, Shadow Master's gone there.
Here comes the spellcast.
Exploding sixes.
Yeah, I know. You
On the 10.
got Belladonna's Word Scroll spell on a 10 because she's a +2 to cast right now.
Mystic Shield,
Plus Mystic Shield.
on a 7. It'll come for the Belladonna also. It's gonna go to the wolves.
So the wolves now have Mystic Shield for +1 save, so they'll be on
Okay.
4 up. He did use the heroic action to add 1 wolf to that unit as well.
Nope. So it's 11 wolves running.
Decided to hold off on the summoning of 10 wolves to the table in turn 1.
Mimic phase.
And that's all the spells he's gonna cast. You know, I did not see Spirit Gale on his list, which another one that's I think is absolutely amazing to have just because it puts your opponent on the clock.
There's so many things that it just puts pings on, right? Like each of the smaller units on the Stormcast, they have 2 or 3 wounds. You can ping them. But at the same time, you need to make choices.
Advance these guys.
So this guy just has to kill a unit, or how does it
Yeah,
work?
in combat. 18.
Zombie's getting a pretty solid run roll here.
And Mike moving pretty expeditiously here.
Yes.
As far as his,
As a Soulblight player, you really need to know ahead of time where you're gonna move and just execute.
and just do it, especially
Do
when
it.
you're given the top of the turn, and there's no like the decision point. The table state didn't change. It's the same table state that it was at the start
Yep.
of the game.
Oh, what a surprise! We're seeing a bunch of zombies popping out of a grave to go on an objective. What a twist!
You know, it feels like those grave sites probably should have been cemented over, or those rebar cages they did when people were scared of zombies back in like the 20s.
These guys are gonna spread out, just so I replace that missing screen.
Ren Graveguard.
We want the wolf in to advance. Whatever. Messing up.
Gearguard getting a great run too, being able to catch up to the zombies,
Yeah.
sit right behind them. Now, if they're wholly within 12 of that Vampire, wholly within 9 of the Vampire Lord, they'll be on a 5-up ward rerolling ones.
Yeah, that's pretty good for that block in the middle.
Yeah, and Stormcast has no way of shutting off board saves.
Yeah.
Oh, apparently our mics are a little quiet. We're also talking a little quiet as the players are very close, and it's a very quiet room.
Yeah, unfortunately, the rest of the room actually cleared out, so any sound we make is going to carry pretty clearly to the table.
Cornelius. And then we'll just run him. Just here. Horde. Fuji here. Belladonna.
Everybody getting some great run rolls. Getting basically a Soulblight castle up there.
Wolf in will scurry.
And now Mike will bring out some more zombies from the grave. And what a surprise, he is tagging the other objective with zombies out of the grave.
I'll have 40 left in.
So you're saying that zombies are on the objectives?
Zombie is on the objective.
Okay.
Mike has finished his movement, so he still has 2 units of 20 in the grave, which I think is a mistake. Because we do have like things like fulminators in the sky,
Yep.
and all of his heroes are back there exposed. There's nothing screening the heroes behind him. So 2 fulminators can pop up behind and basically pick up all of those heroes. And on a double turn, we'll just go one.
And maybe be fours. They'll have exploding sixes. And then.
Dire Wolves
Do you
with
order
6-inch
someone
pile
to
in.
target?
Yes. Mordecai.
What?
And then.
It's a big box at Mordecai.
Yeah, we're also fight here. Okay, so.
It was a big box.
Matters.
There's 2 each.
Or playing Lord of the Rings? I also have a Lord of the Rings army.
I have
I have a Mordor army, and I have a painted bloodthirster that's sexy as fuck. It's great.
I also have several Lord of the Rings armies.
I know you do. I'm gonna pick up some Gondor too.
Yeah.
Cause I have the Oscar box. So.
What I want to
Are
play.
they calling for aid?
The Mordheim models are.
Assistance.
Yeah. The
Please help us.
Mordor models, the goblins are really old and dated. They're not, I think, great. But a buddy of mine trying to get me
Mike
into Lord of the
Vaginas
Rings
pointing out
got me
again.
into. Got
Mike
me
has his
the,
backside so exposed. It looks like he's
Balrog.
wearing a hospital gown.
So I painted that up.
Absolutely.
It's awesome.
There's two fulminators in the sky, looking at some very juicy targets.
But I want to play the Ironhill dwarves.
And we're gonna play.
There's also the 10 adjudicators with bolt storm crossbows and the Gardas.
Oh, really?
So you can potentially just drop most of that right behind and just lift all of that support.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So they know.
I heard the core rules.
You know, Torgilius is a great target here too, because Torgilius has that aura of 5-up words with summonable units, but he's very fragile. He's only got like a 5 or 6 up save and like 6 wounds, so he will just die if you look at him. So all of his key pieces are exposed. Even the Vampire Lord, Necromancer, everything's back there. Huge error in movement there and not bringing in one of those 20 blocks to screen out the backside.
We'll see. The question is whether it's taken advantage of, right? Because
Yeah, I mean, it could be taken advantage of and then fail a charge and lucky. So these are the vanquishers attacking back, killing a dog. Yep, he does not have a Galician champ on the center, so he actually scores 6 still, so 7 is the max you can score on this one. I think what he really needed to do was tunnel master a Galician champ to the center, and then drop a zombie unit in front of him and use the dire wolves to then capture that point on the bottom left. You know, tagging those vanquishers in combat, not necessarily needed. So we'll see if our Stormcast player can capitalize on this turn. As we move in the bottom of 1 here, round 5, the Ironweld GT.
And there be dragons.
There be dragons.
There be dragons on the edge of the board and off the board. There's kind of dragons, and one
there's
big dragon. Right, there's one champion on a dragon. I forget what it's called.
No, there's no the dragon that's off the board is, I think he took one off the flight stand so he could fit the bases, because the dragons do overlap.
Yeah.
And so a lot of players will have like detachable dragons from the base. I saw Sean Clark out in the Midwest hero. He originally built an entire dragon list for Worlds last year, realized how much of a pain in the ass it is.
Oh, yeah, that's Sean.
Sold all of those dragons, bought a new set, and magnetized every wing on the dragon so they can come off.
Yeah, they are challenging to transport, for sure. Especially flying. Like driving, I guess you can kind of deal with just about anything, but flying,
So here we go. Terminus clock gives them a whole -1 to casting for the 1 Mystic Shield spell.
it did it, folks. Terminus clock went off.
Oh,
First time
Terminus
on
clock!
stream in three Soulblight players.
We'll get an update on the battle tactics soon.
All good.
Destroy one guy for fail. Where's my scoring? I'm going to banners, I'll bring it down, no shot, and that's it. I'm at 4 CP now, and I go back with
So
Cutting maneuver.
cutting maneuver coming out from our Stormcast player, basically control objective outside of his territory with a Galatian champion. So likely we'll send that Knight Zephyros up there with the dragons and say, get off of here, Zambies. This is my point.
Yeah.
I have been sent by Sigma to purge the undead from the lands.
I am here to kill your zombies.
Your best friend.
And say, all your objective are now belong to us.
Come with me if you want to live again or die again. I'm not quite sure how this works with zombies.
So, +1 save to the dragons from the Castellan. What a surprise. Handing out a +1 save. So we have dragons at a 2-up save right now. Not really. Graveguard is the only thing with Rend. Besides like Chattakar the Beast over there. But I don't think that Mike really wants to tango with those dragons if he can avoid it.
No, I think the dragons, you have to bog them down if you can, which is going to be a challenge.
Yeah, he's going to need...
They should be able to do a lot of damage.
He's going to need the 5-up wards
Yep.
from Torgilius or that Vampire Lord with the Ulfin Phylactery. Ulfin Carnian Phylactery. That's the full name of it.
Yeah, I just forgot about it. We're gonna put it on Radikar.
So, command point on Radikar, return. He does have War Master, and he's a general anyway. So
Yep.
Reroll ones, because it doesn't really matter to be honest. Movement phase, I'm going to put to run. It's already on the
You're on
zeros. So yeah,
That's why I ignored it. I won't gain CG.
So then these guys are gonna come out.
So, step 1 of the battle tactic has been achieved, where we have a Galatian champ on the objective. Now he just needs to control it. Which do you think some dragons
There's a
can
chance. There's a chance.
deal with 20 zombies that only have a 6-up word?
I mean, there are dice involved.
Big if true.
Big if true. Correct.
This is a unit of Vindictors moving up there on the left side. And there's no unit champ in a zombie unit, and they're out of range of Radikar, so no commands to issue.
Mike kind of laughing off the effects of, can I possibly redeploy here?
20 total.
With the 6-up. There's 6-up save. If you have any Rend, they'll just fall over.
Alright, and they cannot get the...
Nope.
Nothing, right?
The only thing that come into play here is every time a zombie dies in melee on a 5-up, it can do a mortal wound back.
Yep.
And we've got 100 of these zombies, and then like half of them can come back. So even if he kills every single zombie, they all come back, and he kills everyone again. It's an average of 50 mortal wounds.
And how does the allocation work on those mortal wounds?
You can pull the zombie from anywhere in the unit and just allocate it to the attacking unit.
But it has to be the attacking unit
Yep.
that gets it. Yeah.
3 inches for your normal dudes, right?
Yeah, you got it.
So he's dropping the Judicators with Boltstorm crossbows. Oh, as a placeholder. So, yep. So pre-planning, I mean, these come down at the end of the movement phase, but, you know, it doesn't make sense to, you know, constantly have to measure, take them off, put them back where they were. So just pre-planning that he intends to drop them there, so that way when he moves his dragons and other units, he already knows what space they're going to
Yeah,
occupy.
where they're gonna be, which is important for the dragons because they do take a fair amount of space for dragons.
And here come the Fulminators. Are they going to go where he thought?
What just happened?
A bunch of Blood Knights fell over here.
You have translocation. You just have to
Tends to
froze.
be outside of it, so let me know if I'm not. You're good. That's what I was doing. So they're gonna do a strategic scan onto here to get 3 points for the mission. Oh, so my guy didn't move, would have done it. I'll let it go this time. Appreciate it. That's 20 push-ups?
So Stormcast trying to figure out where he wants to put the Fulminators. I don't think he sees it.
Should I be doing push-ups on my turn then? Only when you pop up.
It's not on camera, but Ben is doing torch push-ups.
You're just slightly off the board, so just I'm just fixing it.
It's only 4
looks like he's bringing in the fulminators at the top left of our screen.
Yeah,
I think it's a,
yeah, just
I think a
don't leave
big error here on that part.
I need to kill everything there, so yeah, it's my battle tactic. So I go with the safe thing, but it's not.
I'll let you know. I think you're overestimating the zombies.
Yeah, no, if I can charge them, all of them shoot them, and that's the question. And then those dudes, like probably
I don't think we have the ability to John Madden doodle on this stream. I wish I could.
You're good.
There might be a way here. I was not trained in the arts of how to work this software.
You know what? We'll work on that for the next one.
because that's impossible, right?
Workshop it.
If you have
Get
any suggestions, ideas, hello@wickeddicey.com.
Yep. Hello@wickeddicey.com. Send it pictures, random pictures. Doesn't matter. You made it a good dinner. Just send a picture to that email address. It'll be fantastic.
If you want to talk some shit about Josh Henkin, hello@wickeddicey.com.
Yeah, that's the place to do it. Safe space. It's great.
And if you're interested in being a sponsor, vendor, or any sort of participation here at our events,
Can I guess what email address that type of person should
I
email?
dare you to guess this one.
Goodbye@wickeddicey.com.
I don't know if that's a valid email, actually.
It probably is not. So
Probably
it's
not. So
it was a joke.
The correct answer is hello@wickeddicey.com. If you're interested in any opportunities for both the Ironweld GT that occur in the summer and then the Everwinter GT, which is the big main one happening in December in Boston area. The Boston area, I should say.
Yeah. It's only a few minutes out of the city, but it's nicer because it's closer to my house.
So, Dragons have moved up. Mike trying to redeploy the zombies on that center objective. Whole 3 inches they're redeploying. Moving them up, it looks like he wants to just push them up and protect the grave guard better, but I think he should have pulled them back, so if you charge those zombies, then you force the grave guard into combat, who are going to swing back. And those grave guard are already on a 5-up ward rerolling ones, so if 1 or 2 dragons get in there, it's not really going to do a whole lot.
Yeah, you're right.
But our Stormcast player, unfortunately, did not see the opening of the back door. The massive invite behind Mike's line, where he has all of his key heroes and 0 screens.
Yep.
They might just be blinded by the lights on the table and not have seen it.
It's possible. You could say they are blinded by the light. Rolled up like a douche in all the moments in the night. Blinded by the light. No, you don't know that song.
I'll organize them in a second.
So I think our Stormcast player has definitely overestimated how much damage he needs to put into these zombies over here, dedicating the fulminators and those judicators with bolt storm crossbows into them.
I think that's fine. Those they can't move. Movement. Done.
It's be an interesting post-game chat with our players too. So it's always great every stream game. Players, I've been seeing players talk it out, what they could do better, what they could not, and it's great being able to watch the game the whole time too, to also be able to participate in that chat.
It's tricky because we fall into the category of basically hindsight is 2020. We have perfect vision of the table, right? But each player is only doing what they think is best at the time.
You could say we have a bird's eye view of the situation too.
That is it. Almost as if we have a streaming overhead to watch the game.
Here comes the 10 bolt storm crossbows in the zombies. I think you're just going to see these go poof, which means those fulminators are going to be left out there pretty much on their own and become irrelevant for an entire turn because there's nothing near them. It's interesting to me because neither player seems to have any regard for their home objective, which is worth 2 points for their opponent. And then I'm going to take a sneak peek. I think Gardas dropped down right in the middle of all of the Stormcast, but I'm going to take a look.
You know
Alright,
the one?
shooting phase.
No.
I'm gonna start
Is
with
it the double
stuff
hits?
that
Double
matters
hits.
the
Six.
most.
For the green
They're
light,
touching
and
over
those
there.
are normal. That's -2 damage, but no double hits.
This building, let's put it in the right place. Here.
It's the 2 damage.
2 damage.
Is that correct?
2 damage, double hit bonuses.
No,
Building's in the right
every,
place now,
everything.
right?
So they double hits.
These guys are touching.
Yeah. So the Boltstorm crossbows, the standard ones, every hit just becomes 2 hits. And then I think it's like 1 in every 5 models gets an extra strong bow. It becomes 2 damage, like Ren 2.
Yep. Run
So-
2 damage too. Yep.
He's putting all of that into that 1 unit of zombies. I think that's just gonna just delete that unit. I think. So, as I think these fulminators not in a great spot.
And then so that's going to be on 3.
On threes, take aim.
So that is 6 damage, which you don't have in save.
So already 6 damage from those stronger bows.
If that's okay with you.
What?
That's the hits. So we keep, because it's double hits, I'm going to roll that twice.
Sure.
So the first batch is on 3.
What are you looking
Is that red one?
I was just seeing if my guy was
Ignorance.
six. But I
So
wouldn't say
that's, so that's an 8 for the first batch.
Okay.
Either I should have done with more guys.
So rolling the shots right now.
Threes. Sixes on that
And
wound.
for 6, so 6 and 8, so that's...
So 14 saves coming in. That'll be 6 ups. Plus he's already got 6 damage through.
Yep.
So pretty much almost 20 damage already coming through.
4 wounds. 18 minus.
High range.
And
shots
now
are
we've
coming
got
in.
6 up wards from all of this. This is all damage.
What was I gonna say? They have take aim. These are always
4, 6, 8, 10.
Yeah, 3, I agree.
12, 14, 16.
They become
16 zombies die here.
4 left.
4 left. And I think the Vindictors can pretty much clean that up on their own.
Yeah, so they're always 8 minus 3.
Yes.
And we take aim.
Okay, that's part I didn't know. So, 6. Board it.
Okay.
So now
Then the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to shoot the Chimera into that single scout that's left.
So it looks like only 1 zombie towing the objective, which means it's already jebs. So already going to be a 3-point turn. It really just comes down to can these dragons get on the center and deal with any of these zombies to be able to take the center objective. Otherwise, it'll just be a 4-point turn.
to charge, you have to be at 12 to declare the charge, then you're out. Then
The fulminators are now out of 12 inches, so they can't even declare a charge. So I think that's a huge error.
Yeah. It's
Like
even
he
if
could,
they made it, they were,
so I'm going to charge
those guys.
if he dropped them behind and picked up like 1 or 2 of those heroes with the foams, that would have been absolutely massive. Soulblight very much relies on those heroes for all of its buffs and support. You keep bringing back zombies, but if they don't have 5-up wards, they're pretty worthless. If the graveyard aren't getting extra attacks, they're not as strong. You neutralize the spell casting.
you don't have
Let's
any...
put the plasmas into this group here. And then let's put the
I'm going to do some basics. It's not good to make, sorry for the stream, but it's...
and
I don't think we can tilt the camera just yet. Maybe wondering if we can see the left-hand side better. The only thing that's over in the left hand is the very top left. There's 2 fulminators, and that's it. It's the only thing we can't see. Our Stormcast player is very careful to measure the Gardas bubble of 12 inches to make sure his dragons are remaining with a 5-up ward save.
Yep.
Because if Soulblight goes next, those Graveguard are in range to be able to charge the dragons.
so let's start with the plasmas. They're hitting on 2s because they are take aim. So 2s reroll the 1s from commander damage.
So Mike has 20 zombies, a couple dire wolves, and then 4 Graveguard all towing on the objective. So we're going to need to see most of these dragons get onto the objective and deal with a lot of the zombies and the dire wolves in order for him to steal that center off.
You could do... What's that say?
They're 5-up, 6-up.
You know, I'm
Technically a 4-up because that missed.
Can I kill the guys that want to get behind us like today?
On a 3? Yeah, dude. Go. There were.
The dire wolves are now roared, so no alt defense for them. They are mystic shielded, so they're on a 4-up.
I should have started over there for sure. That was my mistake. gun.
Staying within in front of.
5s and 6s automatically wound and create mortals, so that will just kill those two.
Fortunately, only 5 or 3 of the dragons have 15 bodies on that objective.
They have 4 saves, 8
So
points.
I think we're
Tough
pretty
to-
much just gonna see a 4-point turn for Stormcast for having the opponent's objective for 2 points and then the battle tactic.
So that's the green dice is the sword,
That's
the
still
the
not-
pink one are the dragon.
I take
So it's OLED attack, so it's 2 3s minus 1 and 2, so
So you have 2 mortal wounds left that you can create,
that's
right?
the one. So on trades, so that's 2 damage, that's 1 damage.
So that's it from the dragon?
So minus 1
I
damage.
think-
Yeah,
I did
I'm the same number.
yeah, so yeah, that's it.
So this is damage from one dragon
So
into the
that's,
zombies,
That's what, 60
doing
points?
just 8 damage to the zombies.
Yep.
Which they'll still have 12. They'll still have 4 Graveguard towing objective. That's 16 bodies, which is going to outnumber just 3 dragons. No way you can get that center objective now.
Yeah.
Take 1 mortal wound back and you'll kill 6 guys.
So mortal wound back on the
So 6 die after ward saves, and 1 mortal wound is bounced back to the dragons.
Just let me know when you.
Zombies doing a mortal wound back if they're slain in melee,
Yep.
and they do it back to the attacking unit. There is no requirement for having to have the model within any sort of range of the attacking
Right.
unit.
So you can
So-
pull someone from the way back of a strung
Yeah.
out zombie unit
You have
and
a-
have
a
it do mortal wounds to
Zombie
somebody.
strung
It's
out
all
like
in those-
20 inches and pull a model from 20 inches away and still do a mortal wound. Makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
That sounds great.
Yeah. Don't worry, they'll adjust it in the next book.
Really, really healthy for the game condition too.
I think they're the only unit left without that rule. I think Squigs had that, and then they FAQ'd it to be within 3. But
Yeah.
no,
Well,
zombies.
it was 9 originally for Squigs, and it became 3. At least 9 was a limitation. Because you have 36 Squigs, you could string out half. You could string out 4 feet of the table.
So.
Yeah,
Kill,
that's it. So
kill,
that's
alive and not alive.
minus 1 damage, and that's minus 2 damage, so that's
Give me the
5,
minus ones
10,
first.
10 minus 1 damage.
So this is the dragon swinging into the dire wolves. 10 minus 1s. They are all armed with war blades, which is probably the way to go right now with all the Soulblight, because it's gonna be quantity of attacks. It's great once you get bogged down to have all the attacks,
Yep.
dealing with zombie units and skeletons, because the lances are only 1 damage if you don't charge. So once you get those dragons bogged down, it's so much better to have the war blades to have a stronger attack profile.
I mean, I'm just gonna kill him. Do you actually want to roll this out, or?
Plus, the dragon mounts themselves are always Ren 2 damage, so you still have that punch from them when you need it.
This thing's in the way. So yeah.
So here's a bunch of word saves on dire wolves.
Back up into the transport.
Do you have anything people?
Yep, I have 2 left. That's why I only did 2.
The dogs are toast.
Okay, so let's over there, number of shots. It'll be 9 total for all cannon.
Okay.
So the 3s.
Any turn?
Well, you can activate it. It's, you
Not
oh, that's
one.
after. Okay, perfect.
So you have 5.
So end of turn, you'll
So I think another mistake by Mike there, he pulled the zombies, so the dragons are now out of combat. So Stormcast goes next. He's got dragons that can go anywhere, so
It's true.
it forces Mike in a position that if he wins priority, he might have to actually take it because there's all these dragons there.
Yep.
He really needed to leave a zombie.
Wait,
Yeah.
to that one zombie.
If he just left one zombie within 3, he could just give away the turn
And yeah.
because everything's on the
Sliding-
table.
sliding
His heroes
clubs.
are not
Yep.
in any
sliding far to
danger.
the left.
But here comes priority.
Those things do 18 shots?
Stormcast wins priority,
The howitzer, 18 shots.
and I have a score of 6-4. And Stormcast has decided to take it because their dragons are free. If those dragons were in combat, you would probably just give away the turn since they're not going to accomplish anything, and they're already on a 2-up save with a 5-up ward.
Yep.
So I need to protect my crossbow from the
You said they're 8-4?
Correct.
4, 6, 8.
So,
8 saves, 8 more.
so
outside of this.
Stormcast player already talking over his opponent because there are 2 dead summonable units that can come back. One of them can come back on a 4-up at the end of the Stormcast movement phase. So already talking to figure out where he needs to move to make sure he protects pretty much the only objective he has currently. But I think we're going to see him score the middle objective this turn too.
These border teams, you're gonna get your Vulcan over there.
2-1 yesterday? Congratulations.
As we get in there, we go in zombie slaying. That's what Stormcast is thinking right now.
Yep. Kill them all.
Hopefully everybody is enjoying the stream so far. This is our round 5 coverage, our last one of the day. Currently, the top tables look like Anthony Lawrence's Slanesh playing off against Samuel Gould's All Herd Beast of Chaos for basically the big W here
Yep.
at Ironweld. And then
He's running the beef train.
and then we have one other 4-0 player, which is Corey Beckley with Night Haunt. Pinch me, am I dreaming? We have 3 4-0 players. We have Host of Slanesh, Beast of Chaos, Night Haunt, and of 8 Soulblight players here, none of them are 4-0. But we do have a close one. We do have Derek, who's playing against Corey Begley right now, and he's running Soulblight, Legion of Blood, and he's got 3 wins and a draw. He did draw against, big surprise, another Soulblight player earlier. So even when you have a Soulblight versus Soulblight, you still have a Soulblight loss. Like, come on, guys. Additionally, in our 3-1 bracket, we've got Frederick, who we did have it on stream yesterday with his Flesh Eater Quartz, Nate Trentinelli's Night Haunt, Sam Morgan, all the way from Australia, 3-1 with a Castle Eye list with 2 units of 16 Skirgan True Blades. Pretty awesome to see on the table. Anthony Trentinelli on stream yesterday, Saves the Darkness. Gaining momentum here is our battle tactic. He's going to kill the zombies in the middle of the table. Do you think dragons can pick up zombies? I don't know about that. Do you think Bolt Storm crossbows pick up zombies?
Maybe.
Who knows? But we'll find out. Also a 3-1 bracket, Joe Pagano, who we just had on stream in our last game. Ryan Byrne, also 3-1. I think Joe and Ryan Byrne, both tough crowd members, both playing each other in a Legion of Blood off.
Joe and Brad are playing.
Eli Volmer playing Skaven. Tom Ling, Soulblight 3-1. Eric Smith had him on stream yesterday against Anthony Trentinelli. He's 3-1 as well with that Veer Coast list with Graveguard. Chris Duffy with Disciples of Zinch playing off against my local Jersey player, Travis Pearson, with his Stormcast. I am really crossing my fingers. I might be a little biased, but I want that Stormcast list in that 4-1 bracket. I'm hoping you can pull out the W there for Sequitors and a Gyrocopter. We also have Justin Sloan with his Osiark Bone Reapers, Austin Farnham with Stormcast. And then here at this table, we got Mike Maccabee with 2 wins, a draw, and a loss, playing against Jeff at 2 wins, 2 losses. And that is your current update in round 5. We did consider putting Anthony and Sam's game on stream, but we did just have Anthony on our round 4 stream coverage. In case you missed it, you could catch it on a replay on the same channel. Since you're already watching this, I'm sure you've probably found how to arrive at this channel.
Yes, and the first round yesterday was basically the same list Sam was playing.
Yes, it was very similar list. So
we had them already on.
Yeah, so that's
not Sam.
And
although, as far as man bun goes, that would be a great man bun competition between Sam and
I mean, just that matchup alone, that would be such a great game to stream. They were on the short list of players.
I feel like they would find themselves in a position where one is holding open the door for the other, and they both just go, no, you first. No, you first. And the whole game would just be them holding the fucking door open.
Yeah, there's a couple players that we were keeping our eyes on, and if they would have paired up yesterday, we would have just thrown them on stream, and that was a matchup that we would have thrown on stream yesterday had it happened. But we don't want to put somebody on stream twice in a row. It does add a little pressure when you're playing a game on stream. We want to make sure that people are all comfortable. So taking that into account and making sure to give you guys a lot of variety in what you see here. So, 3rd Soulblight list on stream, but all 3 Soulblight lists we've had on stream have all been different.
Very different.
Seems like there's a lot of variety in that book.
Sign of a good book.
except in the 4-win bracket,
Yeah.
because they ain't none there. Too soon? Too soon?
That's a spicy take.
Do you think they all had one thing missing, which is that critical number of 140 zombies you need to get to the 5 Ws?
Maybe. I also feel like the overlooked part of the Soulblight book is the Regiment of Renown with the
You
corpse
can't
cart.
you can't use that in a Soulblight list though. You have to
Oh,
take
you
that.
can't?
No. So there are the regiments renown. GW seems to be kind of pushing them, making sure that they even did an FAQ where it said, hey, these are a thing. Please use them. Essentially, like if you're a Death Army that isn't Soulblight, you can take a regiment renown of like a hero corpse cart and a bunch of zombies. There's some other ones, some other factions. They seem to be trying to make this a thing.
It's like a giant -1 to wound bubble.
Yeah.
And -1 ward save, and there's like 3 bubbles that corpse cart gives out. It's pretty funny.
And then in like if you're a destruction army that isn't an orc army, you could take a regiment renown of a bunch of like man skewer
You
like
get one.
bolt
big,
boys.
I literally
or-
played this at 2 GTs.
Oh, here we go.
It is the you get one of the beast skewers, so the big bolt, and then you get 2x3 of the little bolts. And if the big bolt hits and wounds a monster, then the rest of them get +1 attack.
And the
Can end up pumping out. I think I did 27 wounds to a Gargant in one turn.
it's rookie numbers.
Yeah, it was rookie numbers, but it was for 300 points of my army.
Yeah, and normally you'd only get like the 6s to wound just convert to mortal wounds when you're
Yep.
in a Cruel Boys or a Big Wa army, but the regiment round gives you that extra ability, so you still get that
Yeah,
benefit
it's-
if you're in like an ogre army.
Yeah, correct. It's baked in.
So, seeing our movement phase out of Stormcast right now, looks like he's just moving up everything to just focus on that center objective. Still has the Knight Zephyros and the 2 Fulminators all the way on the left screen.
Oh, no,
Knight Zephyros just moving into the middle of the objective.
Get rid of your dog. So it's a 9-inch charge. Actually, if I move, no, pre-movement, right? Should I do something over the...
Put you within 12. So if I put there, then you probably won't be able to see, right? If they want 3 inches, stuff. You can go here. You could go there.
So, our Stormcast player trying to screen off with what he has up there to make sure that something cannot be summoned onto that objective.
So the whole unit
How many wounds did that take? Yeah, he ain't 18, never mind.
I can get to here. Oh my god, that's great.
So, unsure if the Knight Zephyros is going to be able to screen out,
Not that it matters.
but he still has 2 Fulminators back there that could potentially run up
Space back here, she runs.
and help screen out this area.
I'll be there, and I'm going to turn 6 there.
He's going to auto run 6 the Fulminators and use the Fulminators to then screen out this objective so zombies are unable to just summon onto it at the end of the movement phase here. Although
I had them set up for a reason.
I think there's no reason to just auto run them, because you just move them up 10.
Yeah.
If something comes back, you just charge it.
Yep. You just kill it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, those Fulminators are very good at it. In fact, those 2 would probably scoop a 20-man zombie unit.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
I think you should have just moved them up here, said, I dare you to bring something back over here, and just scoop it again.
Well, they're coming. There'll be plenty for you.
So it looks like we're getting towards the end of our movement phase.
Going to war. This game's already over.
So we'll see if he wants to roll for Endless Legions or not. Looks like he's not bringing back anything.
Oh, sorry. Hey, end of the
Oh, here we go.
roll that. 4. I'll bring back guys.
Oh yeah, that's
So Soulblight rolled the 4 up, gonna bring back 10 zombies somewhere. So since the Vanquishers ran, bringing back 10 zombies onto that center objective there.
To make it so if you want the point, you have to punch.
That's 4 and you guys will keep cover.
10 10, right?
Huh?
10 10.
Yeah, it's fine.
Not that you care.
So that's 5.
So nice to kill these guys.
We're gonna start
So I'm curious to see where all the shooting goes. I think with the Boltstorm crossbow should go into that zombie unit that's the gaining momentum target in the middle, to also clear the space for the dragons to get into the graveyard. And then he should put the dragon shooting into that unit of zombies that just came on. But we'll see what he decides to do here. Although he does have range, I think, to shoot toward Gilius. And if you can pop him, spicy.
Actually, I might as well expose those.
Yeah. I forgot about those.
Too late.
So here comes the shooting. Not sure where the bolt storms are just yet, but once we see zombies lifted, we'll know.
Yeah.
So we'll do everything into them from these guys?
Yeah, so I'll roll these.
Or you want to the morning thing?
So 6-up saves on zombies against no rend.
But I knew that they were gonna do an action.
Yep.
For my own personal.
Understand.
Yeah.
I don't wanna shoot them, I do wanna pick them up. Each shot to say beats. That's gonna take them out of charge range, 9. I actually have a shorter charge to the tank. It was 9 to them. I got 4, 5, 7, 6, 7, 8. Okay. You like that? That makes your shield go over 8. Alright, so we're gonna hit them with everything? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 6, 7, 8.
So Mike now pulling zombies. Looks like 13 were slain in the shooting. So there might be 1 or 2 left.
That's automatic.
I think there might be 1 zombie left.
What's shooting at them?
All the
Interesting that he left the one right up front that can just get stomped off the table, but
just so they can be off the table and not a finish.
we'll see what he does.
So, chapter master and wolf. Good. No, I did the wolfen. When I did.
Looks like he's gonna put all of the shooting from the dragons into Radikar.
So we got your type of rolling. 18.
So 9 mortal wounds going in the Radikar,
Okay.
who has I think 12 wounds and a 6-up ward.
Oh, wounds. Wow.
They don't call him Radikar the Beast for nothing.
It's fair. It's fair.
He saved 3 of those and takes 6, so Radikar's half dead. He thought he was all the way dead, but
Not quite yet.
not quite dead yet.
It's half. Exactly half.
Big surprise, we have a charge coming from dragons. With a 5, which is plenty of move where they want to go. You see the measuring coming out from the Gardas aura of
Yeah,
the 5-up
figure
wards.
Where they can go.
Both these players just have auras of 5-up wards.
Yeah.
It's the 5-up ward off. Except the dragons are a 2-up save.
Yeah. Fast dragons. It's gonna be a problem.
They're going zippity doo dah, zippity day. This is my objective. Have a nice day.
Go the fuck away.
Sergeant, winners 3, and D6 for 3.
So looks like he's gonna put 1 dragon into those zombies that just came back, and then the rest likely into these graveguard.
Alright.
2.
So, fighting in.
These are 5 on 3s. 4
Master
on
section, yeah, you're right. I'm going
This
to-
player
yeah.
3.
always being kind.
What's the damage? 5 on game 4.
Going to roar.
They're all.
Roared the graveguard, so
Okay.
no offense. These
Very,
graveguard are
very,
only a
very
5-up
loud.
save, but they're on a 5-up word rerolling 1s.
So, the guy.
If that zombie shooting went toward Gilius, I think the Vampire Lord is still close enough to give him the 5-up word, but it would have been huge to at least get rid of
Yeah,
one of
it
these
would've
word bubbles.
Real big bubble.
So, I'm going to do this guy first.
Yeah, I got it shorter here. I changed my plan, that's why I chose it.
Oh yeah, there's still 1 zombie there that needs to be slain here,
Yep.
so. So it looks like he's putting
Yes, 3 crows there.
3 claws, 1 drop.
Yeah, exactly. And so beginning the dude, 2 damage.
So he's putting 1 more blade into the zombie. Everything else is going into the graveguard, and then the 1 dragon's all into the zombie unit that just came back. That 10 block.
That one is 82. D6.
Making sure he's not pulling in Radikar.
Yeah.
No reason to pull him into combat. Radikar does hit pretty well,
Yeah.
and he's got the hunger, so any wounds he does, he'll heal back.
You're gonna form nothing into your tank?
I think I'm going to keep the point to it. So on
Luckily not to all out attack.
On raise. So 3 minus 1 damage.
30 saves here into the zombie,
So it's just 8 damage, right?
and the zombie dies for the battle tactic.
Then this guy against those. So that's 6 attacks and 2
I think what I would have liked to see though is for the Knight Zephyros to get into a position where it could have gotten onto the center objective for the extra point this turn, let the fulminators just move up,
Yeah.
a standard move, and say if you bring something back here, I charge it. Still limiting his way on himself on points here.
And those 3 here, so let's do the dragons. That's
Although now that there's 20 bodies of dragons there, that you cannot get onto the center objective without getting a combat with them, it's gonna be a little rough for Soulblight since
Yeah. Unless it was Graveguard.
yeah, this Graveguard need to roll pretty well. Otherwise, if there's Graveguard are all gone, there's not really any damage output here.
Oh, yeah. So,
Did I ever end up getting pulled down? No.
alright, so we're one at a time.
Alright. This might be game combat.
Oh, yeah.
Because
and
speed
on
increases
three.
better.
We are gonna go.
There's just 3 guys.
So that's 6 at minus 1.
We'll do these
3
guys
at
first?
minus 2.
Ooh, not a good conversion here. 6 and -1 for 1 damage, and it looks like 3 or 4 at -2 for 2 damage. So I think it's only going to kill about half the Graveguard here, which is unfortunate. Needs to have taken that unit.
That gives me 10.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10 guys.
Yep, 10 exactly. And 10 Graveguard, they do have +1 attack from the Vampire Lord as well. So they'll have essentially 31 attacks from the champ there at
6 is to wound, do 2 mortals.
yep, and I think Killing Moon's up too, so 6 is to hit or 2 hits. So it'll be 4s and 3s.
And they're Ren.
Rend 1, 2 damage. So the dragons are on a 2-up save from the Castellan.
Yeah. And they'll have their 5 up from Gradius, I think.
I will have exploding 6s, and 6s do a mortal in addition on the yes. So here's 30 on 4s.
Yeah, I got all kinds of Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. All 3. So,
Pretty crucial.
6.
So is the hit roll
Probably pretty good.
6 extra hits or 8 extra hits? I don't know. Quite a bunch of extra hits here.
Yeah. Well, this is the big roll. Right, here's where Mike's hoping for as many 6s as possible.
That's it. That's
Quite a lot of 1s and 2s here.
So that's 10 inches.
You have 5 mortals,
5 mortal wounds
and then 5, 10, 14 saves.
and 14 saves here.
So I do the actually the 5 models. 14 saves.
14 saves.
These are 14 saves at -1, 2 damage each from the Great Right Blades.
Pile in.
What's your base save?
3. This one for the
And he's all defensing these, saved his command point for all defense instead of all attacking,
So 7
and failed 2 of these saves, so a total of
7.
9 damage, because they're 2 damage each, plus 5 mortal wounds.
9 on 5. So that's 2 saves.
So 7 wounds coming through.
Handicapping.
That's 20 today.
5 ward coming in
So-
hot. Is that will save a dragon, right? Because they have 8 wounds apiece.
9 wounds each.
9 wounds each, so yes.
Need to take a wound on one earlier, I think, from something, so there's like I think 1 wound left on that one dragon that's down there in those zombies.
With the captain. What's that? 4, 5.
So we have
Let's start
1,
with the
2, 3,
captain.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're just gonna CP pile that attack them. No. Yeah. Since
Actually,
they're
we'll start
returned, I
with
can't pile.
Yeah. So these return this turn. They only have a 1-inch reach though, so we'll see if.
16.
Although I think this might be a unit in Galician veterans, giving them the extra attacks, but
Landing call. We'll pile.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
He fits the wheel come here.
4
Slide in
swords.
sight.
doesn't look like they should have 8 swinging, but just my view.
Half an inch of a guy with a half
not at the table.
We'll do lightning claw here. How many wounds, Commander? Yeah.
He has 4.
Do you have an invul?
He has 5.
Alright, so.
We only hit on 5s, and their 6s are doing 2 hits, so quite a lot.
4, 5 saves
So
on your 2
So I'll
one
do-
mortal wound.
Lightning claw guys,
But they do it
into the character.
Yeah, because I have a corpse card.
So save
You're
that
rolling
save.
everything.
And the more. Yep. So that's 9. That's
And
no, that's
3,
8.
3 rolling.
so now 8 wounds on the dragon.
Yeah.
What gives them rerolls?
chapter
so you
master.
score 1.
You can't target Wolfen with chapter.
3.
Alright, then it's
4,
on
5.
itself. Oh.
And better technique.
You sure?
5 points for Stormcast. He has the center. He has that home objective of Soulblight.
I hit the better technique.
And a battle
by
tactic.
jumping the momentum switch. Yeah, alright, so that's fine. That's.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my
They get
And then we'll be
reroll.
going into bottom of 2 Soulblight.
No.
Did they get a note?
1 AP3.
No, I lost 1 out of and I have like
Thunder hammer, 1 damage.
so
But then you get exploded 6, baby.
So we're absolutely seeing at least 1 dragon dying this turn.
Yeah.
I think we might see 2. Deathly Invocation will bring back 4 Graveyard. He gets 3 for being wholly within 12 of a hero. And since he's wholly within 12 of a gravesite, he gets to bring back an additional model.
Yep.
I'll bring this wound back down.
He also gets 1 zombie back because he can't bring that unit above its starting size. And this was a replaced unit, so it caps at 10 right now. He does still have the heroic action to add D3 models to a unit, and also the one to just summon 10 direwolves.
2 to go in second. We are going to
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 deck.
True, right? Yeah. Summon $10.
So here's the rogue action, summon 10 direwolves, which probably should have come out turn 1. Screen out the back, but no. Looks like he's trying to screen out the back here. This point, not sure if he needs to screen out the back because there's the entire Stormcast army is on the table, and there's no teleporting except for the Night Zephyros.
Mm-hmm.
We will go with the captain.
And then since this is a heroic action, we'll still get the battle tactic to choose after this.
Yep.
Although I did find the Endless Legions, or not the Endless Legion, the Deathly Invocation actually happens during the hero phase.
Oh,
So it happens after if you pick
Interesting.
battle tactics and heroic actions and all that.
Thunder hammer.
But it doesn't really change anything. I mean, you're going to bring them back anyway.
right.
The second one is going to be adding 3 to them. Now add 1 more. Nope.
And since Mike is going second, he does get a second heroic action with the Galician Champ. So he is using the Soulblight one to add D3 wolves to that unit, so he gets an extra wolf there.
We are going to
Battle tactic.
yeah. Okay. Sorry.
So Mike deciding on his battle tactic now.
We'll see what happens.
Here's okay. They're 9 wounds each, so it's 27 wounds. Right? 27 wounds. You have
Oh,
one
yeah,
wound left on that?
Mike doing the math in his head.
Be bold and go for gaining momentum and kill your dragons.
Mike is going all bold here, gaining momentum on the dragons.
All right.
So can 14 Graveyard with Radikar take out the dragons? There's 1 wound left on 1 dragon, so it's 28 wounds on a 2-up save with a 5-up ward.
I have more distance on that side.
So we'll see if he can do it. Those Graveguard could potentially go to 5 attacks each, because Radikar will charge. We have a miscast on Von Hell's. That's what he was looking for, to be able to get an extra attack with the Graveguard. Unfortunate.
We were all based in.
On a 8.
Cast Fading Vigor on an 8.
I have Mystic Shield.
Outside of 3? Good.
Only 1 unbind available to Stormcast.
Anything that can.
Oh, yeah, I guess you
And
can
my
use
Arcane Bolt. That's all.
Yeah, Arcane Bolt. Cool.
That's all I was trying to.
I'm going
Yeah, I don't think I
to.
knew anything about that.
My
So putting Fake and Vigor on the dragons, which do have a 4-up to ignore spells.
Let me just check one.
You go off on a 4?
Hmm?
Arcane Bolt?
5.
Mystic Shield's a 5.
Arcane Bolt, and that's a 6. There's nothing that goes on a 4 except Flame Weapon.
Okay.
But we're checking the casting value of the Arcane Bolt, which is either a 5 or a 6.
Oh, put it back on my lock, please.
And then I'll get an update on Fading Vigor. Did Fading Vigor go off on the dragons?
Cool. We're done.
Did Fading Vigor go off on the dragons?
Then we're gonna have
With the ignore 2?
that didn't hit them.
I went off and he said okay.
Okay.
Oh, actually, the minus one, it's a 15 mag dragon, so on the 4 plus. Thank you.
So how did this guy get up here?
Oh, that's
If he was,
That's fine. I was thinking of damage and after the bolt, I was like, oh, I think that's anything goes on 4 plus is really.
Movement.
a lot of very important stuff going on here.
Range, so whatever.
So, we'll do Thunder Hammer. Freeze, explodes, 2.
Oh, getting into Soulblight movement phase. He's got 20 zombies
3 damage.
creeping on up. So there's not really anything threatening that right objective there. So Mike's feeling confident to move those 20 zombies over. Since he failed Von Hell's, he feels like he needs as much damage as he can to get into these dragons in order to take them out. So update for Josh, who's back at our table.
Yes.
We have gaining momentum on the dragons. So 28 wounds on a 2-up with a 5-up ward. Mike went to cast Von Hell's and miscast. So he's got his work come out for himself. He needs to get pretty much everything in these dragons and roll out.
Yeah, that's a lot of wounds to do. Or
I
say,
think-
damn, just a 5-up ward on that.
I think what
effectively
would've,
extends by a third.
I think it would have been better off if he chose Grasping Dead in this situation, where you pick a unit, some units are already in combat, and if they end the turn in combat, get Battle Tactic. Because
Yeah.
I don't think those Graveguard are going to die to the dragons. And I don't think they're going to kill the
one
dragons.
dragon scooped half the Graveguard last turn.
That was almost 3 dragons. It was
Oh, it was
the-
3 dragons. So
Yeah,
sorry.
it was basically all 3 dragons except the 1 rider went into the 1 zombie.
Oh, okay.
3 red 1.
Let me rephrase. 3 dragons scooped half the Graveguard.
Yeah.
So if there are 3 more dragons to fight again, they might scoop the other half. It's possible.
Here comes the Radikar charge.
Yeah, this is the.
What a surprise.
Zombies.
Alright, let's do some orders.
The zombie's also charging in there. Again, he needs all the damage output he can to try to get these dragons down. He's got the corpse cart for that aura of 6 wound to a mortal wound.
Until they fall back.
And now with the Radikar charge, that pops the +1
Plus,
attack
plus
bubble.
1 attack, so those Graveguard are essentially +2 attack right now.
Yeah. And +1 to wound.
No +1 to wound.
What was the? Oh, the corpse card is -1 to wound.
No, the corpse card doesn't give those buffs. It's just the corpse card only is giving +1 to casting for his wizards that are holding 12,
okay.
and then also the zombies getting 6 to wound to a mortal wound.
The mortals.
Yeah, they don't-
But that's just zombies that get it from the corpse card then.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it for charges.
Yeah, so I'm going to
I have to give them a mechanized order. Because that's 12 inches. Yeah, I got Bird Solar. Yeah, so he's gonna mechanize order these guys here to reroll ones to shoot.
roll the
Roar them.
And then this guy over here to reroll ones to shoot as well too. We'll reroll
Okay,
ones.
beginning combat, we're gonna give them +1 attack. Then we're gonna realm command, give them +1
So
attack.
here it is, the 5 attack Graveguard. All out defense coming out, no surprise. So since he's Virkos, Radikar can attack first. He gets +1 attack to himself, and then he can immediately fight with another unit wholly within 12.
Which will be the Graveguard.
Yep.
Or now
Radikar
on
doing
the
2 mortal wounds on a 6 to hit.
keep count right. Finish your action.
I was just checking this call because I thought this call not annual.
6 more saves, thank you.
Okay. Oh,
That's the story of 12 I told my whole life.
Where's one for?
2 damage.
Can't believe I got
That's
called out
all
on
that-
screen. Is
that's
that push-ups too? Should I be
the
doing
wall?
more push-ups?
So 1 more. So there is 3 damage taken.
So dragons take 3 damage, so kills 1, puts 2 more wounds on another, and I think the dragon explodes now.
You got Oxide over here?
Yeah, so he's going to explode.
So the Macaque
Well,
down.
Yeah,
And he can only
took
explode into the
yeah,
zombies.
Yeah, exactly. He took the. It depends on the model, right? It's not like
Yeah,
some of the
you
others
pick-
where it's
you-
not like zombies where
Yeah.
you can literally do anything with a unit.
Figure if I can just compress this.
Okay.
Just 1 mortal wound into that 10-man zombie unit there,
Saves.
Oh, yeah.
which is saved.
Okay, I'm gonna have 70 attacks.
You got 2 shooting armies left.
So 10 Grave Guard are gonna have 70 attacks.
Well, no, there's 14 because 4 came back
Okay.
from the death
Yeah.
invocation.
Okay, that makes more sense because I was wondering how you get
Yeah.
70 out of 10, but I mean it would be 7 attacks, but it's
And
5
they're,
attacks.
they're 2 inch reach, so you don't really have to worry.
Yep.
That like, Mike also has some in Galician veterans.
I love Mike's ferocity when he rolls dice.
He rolls with
You
intent.
literally can see his calves flex as he rolls his dice because he is shaking his entire body.
The man probably makes a really good martini.
It would be great.
Oh, you owe me over here. Watch 5 die right now, baby. 5 again now. They're so
now they're out of their thing. That would be great.
What's that?
This is actually to my benefit. If I can kill that one guy.
I get to fight.
5 die.
When the hero fights, the devil fights
You
it.
won?
It checks out.
Nobody.
You'll have 2 mortal wounds.
Still not bad. I mean,
Looks like this is a first batch. We've got 2 mortal wounds and 13 saves.
Okay, and then I have to roll the other 35.
And that was just from 35 attacks.
That's why
So
dice
still
box
35
come
more to
in
go.
36 because all you have to do is pull one out and roll it twice.
But the dragons will be on a 2-up save from being +1 save from the Castellan, and then also an all-out defense because there's no monsters in like any Virco's list, so there's no way to roar or turn off commands.
Right, that's true.
But when your list relies on wound rolls of 6 doing mortal wounds, and then I die, you take mortal wounds, you're not really focused on trying to force saves through.
Right.
We're gonna see big.
3 more mortals?
Me too. We're tied up.
It looked like 3 more mortals, so I think we're at 5 mortal wounds.
And 14 more saves.
And 14 more saves, so 27 saves total here. Can he roll 2-ups? I think he can.
I mean, 84% of the time, it happens every time.
The math checks out.
The math checks out.
So let's say
45 minutes discussing their armies before mine, which is too long.
2, 3, 4.
But I do think that the red was on the long by the time.
4 failed saves.
So,
If that's 27.
Yeah.
Cool.
so 4 failed saves. So that's 8 wounds plus 5, so only 13 damage coming through from the Graveguard.
So, might scoop dragon, might not.
It'll,
It's
yeah, I think it
very
could.
dicey. We'll get
One of the
dicey.
dragons did get to take some wounds already.
Hadn't gotten into a shooting war with demons, they probably would have won it.
So
But the
1,
problem
2,
is
3,
they
4, 5,
charged
6,
up. They
7.
charged
Okay,
across
so
the
one
board
more
with
left.
the army down to a 2. And,
So, does kill 1.
Good.
you can't, you're not gonna beat Bellacore in a straight up fight like that. You need to shoot him first.
On the Graveguard.
But not so now.
Yeah, indeed, put that on the graveyard.
And then here we go, exploding.
So that was, yeah, that was it. So here, 7, 8, 9,
And
10.
10 dice for the explosion.
Explosions.
2 mortal wounds. Not quite as effective as zombie explosions, but zombies also have the newer book.
Yeah, of course.
So
And
probably explosions on 4-ups next book.
Dragons exploding with, the molten innards that they have should really only be able to target something within an inch. I think that's a fair way to do it.
So
Meanwhile,
Stormcast ability now to choose where his dragons want to go. He does have a 3-inch pile-in here. The zombies on the right-hand side at 20 block did charge, so they are eligible to pile in.
Anyway, I'm using this right now.
So I think I know where these guys are going. I think you guys probably know where they're going. And indeed they are going away from the charged unit. So that way he'll still be able to pile in those 20 zombies, but
no
be able to get in
swings.
there. And he's going to put everything in Chattakar.
He's might as well be hit and wounded.
Microminding his opponent that Chattakar is -1 be hit and wounded. And he's alt defensing the Chattakar.
You can either double activate anything, right?
I mean, if I have another hero fight, then yeah, but like.
nothing in Soulblight fight twice.
No. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So on force, because of the
So.
-1 to wound.
So
So we
hitting
looking
wounding
for
on
force?
fours because of the -1 to hit and wound. Shatter card now on a 3-up save from all defense.
And force.
Alright, let's do some shoot sting.
Shoot it up.
Oh wait, I need to move.
So that's 2 -2 and 3 -1.
That's a 3.
Oh yes.
So we'll do
2 -2.
this
Only
is
2 -2.
-1
Okay.
and 1
Oh,
damage.
there's
fail 1, so 1 damage, and then 2 -2s. Fail both, so it'll be 4.
Yep.
so only 5 wounds. Here's the 6 upwards.
You can take 2.
And I can eat
Only-
actually one thing. I
only
can
taken
do first turn, so
2 wounds,
they are 1 wound each.
and here we go.
Yep. Cool.
Does not eat the grave guard.
Alright.
I wouldn't want to eat Graveguard either.
Not
Probably
very
good
tasty.
play.
Just like they have a lot of armor on too. It's tough to chew.
Pretty terrible.
Thank you, sir.
Now let me see if there's a thing where I can chase you.
Now a bravery check on the Stormdrake guard. Although no bravery modifiers in Soulblight anymore,
Yeah.
so they cannot fail battle shock. You would need to
There's
kill
there's
3 of them.
8, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Use card to and
So 2 points for having his opponent's home objective. 1 point for the center. Does not get an extra point because he does not have the Galician champ on the center and fails his battle tactic. We have a tie game, ladies and gentlemen. And now priority going into turn 3. So Stormcast win priority yet again. Sigmar himself says, "Not today, Nagash." I don't know what he says.
Just go. Just go. Don't ask me questions. Just go.
I don't play order armies, except
No,
when I
I
do.
No, I don't.
You don't have any order armies?
Nope. It's
Ah.
actually I think the only faction I don't own.
I've owned too many. I've got.
I do own old lizard men, Seraphon.
Oh, here comes the battle tactic.
Battle tactic, you killed nothing.
So, nothing died from Stormcast, so no eye for an eye available. It's already done a gaining momentum.
Nothing good.
Nothing? Okay. So I'm gonna start off with the stick here. He's gonna call it shots into these guys here.
Who's the man?
I think here, depending on the battle tactic, I think we should be able to see a 6-point turn.
Yeah.
Possibly it depends if Mike can roll a 4-up.
Yep. Yeah.
But
well,
there is a path here to score 6 points potentially.
Fail 1.
Oh, okay.
Let him.
Doesn't affect anything, but we're gonna
Just do the
Oh. Like remember you did have that pile in. I know we talked about it. He talked about it quite a bit. Players are moving a bit quick. Forgot to do that pile in scoop. So. Fortunately, there's not a lot of like super easy battle tactics in the Stormcast book,
yeah.
unlike Soulblight. So
Nothing.
it's a lot of thinking and planning here because you not only have to plan for this turn, but what can you get in turn 4 and 5?
You really don't got to stretch for roll 2 dice.
Okay.
I'm just messing with
These
you.
guys here are gonna shoot right there.
Can they?
Yep. They can see over this. It's easy.
So what's
Yeah.
your...
You need to call Trevi over because this is like
He
obvious.
should probably judge it. Hurry up.
Trevi, can we
No
get
fire.
I was gonna say, like, bro, like,
So
really?
currently mulling over whether he wants to take Desecrate or not. There's only like 3 terrain beasts that are eligible, and they're not really great targets
Yeah.
for it.
How'd they get rerolling once?
He's already used Cunning Maneuver and Gaining Momentum.
Go with Desecrate. So what's your territory?
What's
One, two.
That's not right, so...
Over 2.
So finally goes to the coder.
This guy.
So one, so that's one, that's the one, that's the
Yes.
one.
Fours, you're rolling ones.
I know there is another battle tactic available, but I don't think he sees it.
Threes.
So
Yep.
we'll find out.
From the, one more.
Anything within 3?
They get reroll once to wound?
This guy.
That's 6 and 4. Okay.
both players still only halfway through the round. We're at 2:30 here local time. Our round ends at 4 o'clock, so about an hour and a half left in this round.
Yep.
We did have some games kind of going late. I think our final game yesterday went a little over time, which was fine. You know, round 3, nothing left to do after that.
For
But
the games on stream, at least, we ended up shuffling with a few people, so it ended up getting players over here and then giving them enough time to actually play a 3-hour round.
it could be a thing
movement.
this round. Usually, your round 5 really needs to cut off at time because we need to have the final results determined, awards, all that. So, typically, if you do play an event and you're in round 5, that is the round of urgency.
Yep.
It's usually round. Yep. Okay. So Stormcast battle tactic. Come on out. I will get the exact name here.
Dragons kill something. We will call it the Game of Thrones. Targaryen battle tactic. Is that a good name for it? I think that's the right name. Dracarys. Ooh, Dracarys. That'd be a great name for that battle tactic. What's it actually called? Draconith Domination? Destruction.
Draconith Destruction, but I don't think that includes the dragons. Draconith, Stardrake, or Dracoth? Oh, maybe Dracoth is the keyword.
You're a Dracoth.
I think it's Dracoth. So basically one unit that has 10 or more models and completed if it's destroyed by wounds caused by attacks made by Draconith, Stardrake, or Dracoth units during this turn. So probably looking to pick up those Graveguard.
Yeah.
Now here we go. Now this is a unit of 5 Vanquishers who basically get bonus attacks depending on the size of the unit they're attacking. And they have like rend 1 damage each. Pretty solid unit for picking up zombies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Piling in 3 soul types in combat with zombies.
All things are assigned at the beginning. Yep.
So not everybody can see, right?
Yep, not everybody can
1,
see.
2, so you got 1,
These guys
2,
So Vanquishers, great tech in this meta. 5-inch move, 2 wounds each, 4 up save, 7 bravery. They are base at 2 attacks each, 3s and 3s, -1, 1 damage. But they have lightning strike, so if there are 5 or more models in a target unit, you add 1. If there are 10 or more, you add 2. So against those 10 zombies, you're looking at 4 attacks each, so 20 attacks. Plus 1 for the unit leader, it's 21 attacks, 3s and 3s, rend 1 damage. Zombies don't have a save against that. So, great unit in this meta. They're pretty cheap, they're 110 points, and they're always battle line.
Ooh.
I think they're...
10 points is great for that.
Yeah, I think the only thing... They're actually the cheapest battle line unit in Stormcast.
Of course they are.
And in this meta, oh, that's absolute money.
And they're point efficient.
Then the command squad is going to shoot
So.
over here, except for the Melta. That's
Fulminators moved up. If Fulminators cannot kill Radikar, I might just eat my shoe. Might even eat it anyway. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, hopefully you didn't miss lunch.
I mean, I did have some Chipotle,
Okay.
which,
Go.
if you're out there for Chipotle, we're always looking for sponsors.
We are, and
Please.
a lot of us went there.
Please
Although-
feel free to reach out to hello@wickeddicey.com.
The Chipotle was a little busy. We should have put it in order online, so I ended up going to the poke place next door.
When we got there was no line. We got there right at the right moment.
84, which goes to 85, so it just kills a guy.
So, redeploy on these dire wolves, trying to screen out his back heroes because Torgilius is there. And whew, if Torgilius dies, he's losing one of his big 5-up word bubbles. And I'm going to check to see how many wounds Chattercar's left because Chattercar's got the hunger. So in combat, basically all the vampire heroes in Soulblight, whenever they fight, they get to heal a number of wounds equal to what the damage that they did, up to 6. Some of the smaller heroes, like the Vampire Lord and Foot, don't have that restriction because they only have 5 wounds. But
they can't heal over their starting.
a lot of the big ones, Vampire Lord, Zombie Dragon, Radikar, Belladama, like Neferata, Manfred, they all have that 6 cap. And I think the Vangorian Lord actually has a War Skull spell that gives a unit the hunger.
Oh.
That's why he should die.
I love checking out.
Oh, of course I love checking out stuff. Nothing makes me happier.
All right, let's
Looks like there's about 7 wounds allocated to Radikar, so only about
5 left.
5 left.
2 of them are going to shoot at
9, 3, so that's 12, 12,
Here we go. 14 mortal wounds.
And you apply that
And Radikar's died to a whole bunch of hot molten breath.
Yeah, that's a lot of
Which
mortal wounds.
is an attack by dragon unit.
Yep.
That is probably the best way to kill Radikar. He's -1 to hit and be wounded. We saw only 5 damage come through from 2 dragons. Not
Yep.
a whole lot in the combat phase.
Yep. Probably swing through it. And then get to attack and chain into the Graveguard.
This guy.
But we can just breathe a whole lot of... I don't know if it's fire from the Stormjay Guard, because I know the Fulminators, they shoot like lightning out of their mouths.
Oh.
They're like William Wallace, shooting lightning bolts out of his arse.
Yes.
So he's minus 2 points. He's good.
Here comes the Bolt Storm crossbows.
I agree. This guy can do a whole circle around him. So then
The Bolt Storm crossbows going into that big pack of wolves. Interesting. I think he's hoping to just like kind of wipe that unit. Mike with the heads up to all defense them because he knows that they're the only thing screening out some of this fulminator damage that's about to come in. I think there might be a gap there where if he charges in, he could reach Torgilius, and it only takes 1 fulminator to pick up Torgilius.
Yep. Yep.
Torgilius is pretty fragile. If you ever get a chance to pick him up, you know, don't overextend yourself, but make sure that you can pick him up if you have the chance.
Yeah, and if you have 2 fulminators, that's not overextending yourself, right? Like that's
Oh, yeah.
fairly inexpensive.
I mean, the
cost
only-
to toss into something that might
Yeah.
tip the game. And if you lose them, fine. But if they do their job, they don't take
And we see there are 10 zombies that did come back on that right objective there, so Mike actually might need to back charge to resecure his own objective over there, because that's worth 2 points. So I don't think Torgilius is worth giving up 2 points in a game as close as this. Every point matters here.
Yep.
And if you kill that unit of 10 zombies, they can't come back. It's done.
Yep.
It's all about the zombie management. He's going to file them under dead, stay dead.
There's the you can come back and you can't. You're moving from pile A to pile B.
Looks like only 2 wolves died. And that Knight Zephyros teleporting through the ether to reclaim his own home objective down there, which forced the decision for Mike. So you can only make 1 unit, or to take the home, or the other one. So we'll see. Do the fulminators go backwards?
what's the save profile? Sort of 1 damage each.
Looks like he is deciding that he just wants to get in and do as much damage as possible with these fulminators.
Yep.
I don't think I necessarily agree, but he is valuing picking up the Graveguard because that's really all that's doing to do damage here. And I think he really wants to keep the dragons alive because 2 have already died.
That's the normal.
Which is
Those are AP too. He's dead.
we're gonna give these zombies plus minus.
They were 5 away. And I piled in 3s, put some 2 away.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 10 shots with them.
You got it.
I do that. So I shot with them.
I want this to be easy for you. You're such a lover. Now I know.
And now charging the Vanquishers
It all
in,
comes to life. It's so sweet.
hoping to vanquish even more zombies.
Come in here, walk over my I don't know which one
Keep going second.
You know, they'll be on a 4-up save. They do have the 5-up word from Gardas to help protect against the splashback of the zombies. Zombies are doing mortal wounds on 6th wound. They're getting the extra attack from the Vampire Lord.
Like cats do. There's a lot of
And I think they're getting exploding 6s from Belladama still for 6 to hit.
Yep.
And it adds up. I mean, sometimes you can spike pretty high on the damage on them on the swing. Sometimes you just do a wound or 2.
Yeah. That's sometimes you get that 5 to 6.
Yeah. And Stormcast is a very elite army in terms of like ward save, not those ward saves, but armor saves, and they don't really have a lot of wound density in their list. So any wound that you actually get through your Stormcast, it adds up over time.
And so the Drakas are
fulminators have now
Six minus two.
piled in.
Minus two, but that's 3 damage, 2 damage.
Who's coming?
Total. Nice. I think I.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't see it.
I think I just.
You just bumped it? Okay, so the 3 minus what?
Minus 2. Everything is minus 2, but it's 2 damage and 2
Okay,
damage.
we're gonna do 2.
He gets his thing? He
Say
gets to
1.
move twice in
So
the
these are
turn?
4.
Yeah, 4 damage.
Okay. And then.
Oh, he's part of
six.
that squad, right?
So 6 and 6.
Cool.
And these guys are gonna charge right here.
Cool.
So that's 3 damage.
Yeah, so 15.
So, total of 19 damage coming out of these fulminators. I believe into the grave guard. I don't know if we'll get a player nod, but we'll see once something's picked up. Because rarely ever do you see fulminators charge an attack and something not get picked up.
Yep.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Cool.
So that is it. The grave guard have now disappeared.
You don't wanna get shot?
Sent back to the grave to guard
But it's
it.
okay. 10 will come back.
Maybe.
In this way? So your
I'm
dragons are
enjoying
in
this,
combat.
but I've never had a more fun game in my life. There's no way you could possibly
Oh.
sit.
That's how I know you're lying.
Dragons will no longer be in combat. I think what would have liked to see, I don't think you needed to necessarily put all the sacks into the graveyard. Like, you can leave 1 or 2 alive and just put something into Torgilius and pop them.
And then these are times 3.
This is top of 3, so
We are going to all attack.
Soulblight will be taking next turn, and he'll be able to retreat Torgilius out now and kind of readjust. He's already resecured his own home objective with those 10 zombies over there. And we'll see. If he brings back anything, it's probably going to go down in the bottom right, where Knight Sephiroth is.
They fell back, he can charge.
3 inches with them. They're within 3.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so they can come in.
Cool. Slide in there.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25.
Question is, how do I?
27. Because with vampire, they got +1, so there'll be 3 attacks.
Do
And
this.
there's 9 of them.
Only that one will move there.
We all attack for Lord Solar. 4s.
Plus 2.
I got a big box. There was a 3 there. So I'll be.
Where is it? I'll find it. Where'd it go?
I don't know, man. I'll find it for you.
Okay.
Damn.
And 4.
You're not getting
4 saves.
You
Two
think you're gonna
mortals.
fuck me up?
So 2 mortal wounds and 4 saves coming into these vanquishers. They have a 4-up save, and then
So it'll be 4 damage.
so we failed 2 of them, so 4 wounds coming through.
So 1 dice hit. Okay,
3 wounds coming through.
Oh, this guy's.
On a 4-up, he fights on death, so still getting all of his swings, and then he explodes.
4 up. Fight on death, then explode. Sounds good.
But on a 2-up, he's gonna become a zombie.
Putting on,
Zombie dragon. We saw those last game.
4, so rerolling everything.
I did turn Kragnos into a zombie already in the new book,
That kind of comical in a weird, very, very weird way.
and
What do you do?
and a Frostlord on
Stand in this
Stonearm.
25 mil base, sir. But I am. Oh, well, no one can understand what he says, right? The whole thing. Blah, 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 blah. 25 mil base.
We shrunk him down. We hit him with the shrink ray and then zombified him.
You just have a little tiny Kragnos on a base that you can put in when you kill it. And that would be the
I should-
baller
I
fucking
should
play.
print
Having
out a whole bunch of
tiny
little guys.
zombies of little tiny versions of big centerpiece models. Where it's like, I killed your keeper of secrets. Zombie keeper. Doop.
I'll do that next time.
Yep.
I'll print out a whole bunch. I'll print out a little mini Maul Crusher,
That'd be fantastic. Yeah. Mall Crusher. You got
little Tree Lord or something.
KO boats because you can make the
Oh
boats.
yeah,
Little
a zombie boat.
So I'll kill this chainsaw guy.
I'm gonna kill a zombie and turn the zombie into another zombie.
And we'll start our
Zombieception here.
Zombieception. That's zombieception.
Um,
Boom, 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 boom.
Where? In the big unit? Okay, so this will be.
here we go. Vanquish attack.
I'll find it.
I'm gonna interrupt.
You're gonna take
Take
this
more
and
wood back.
over there.
Hell yeah, man. I'm doing me. That's Thunderhammer guy. He's going into.
Oh, the endless cycle of I fight you. I do a wound.
Yeah.
I fight you on death. I do a wound. You die. You do a wound back. I fight on death.
20 minutes of turn 3.
Bring it down, so I gotta go.
I don't know if Mike Badger is in the chat, but we had about like a 20-30 minute combat phase of just one activation
Yeah.
of zombies in the Splinter Fang fighting on death, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah, -3. It's turn 3, right?
So that does 2 damage or 3 damage?
3 damage.
So 4 left. Cool.
Yeah. Not even done. That was unfortunate. Ah, still, I'm getting rid of those.
You guys are hitting on 4s, so you're rolling 1s because it's not on site.
In turn, choose to stay within corpse guard.
So Mike being very careful with his pylon, staying wholly within 12 of corpse cards.
And then hitting Bruce on Bruce, you're rolling 1 for the
So I'll have 6. 6.
Oh, I gotta be doing that?
Just do it.
Empty's kill on side.
You have some patience, folks.
What's that?
Kill on side is just gone.
Some of the folks wrapping up their games and heading on out,
Yep.
saying their goodbyes.
Some folks have a pretty long drive. We were just visited by Frederick, who played yesterday on stream, our Flesh Eater court player.
Yep. And he's on his way back to Montreal. He's got a 5-hour drive ahead of him, and it's not too bad. He'll get home. Won't be too late.
Where's he from?
Montreal.
Oh, he's Canadian. I didn't know. I mean, I should have guessed it from a name like Frederic,
Yeah.
but
French Canadian. Let's be specific.
uh-huh.
Can I swing, or do you want to activate all your other models?
I'm gonna do some violence.
Yeah, you can activate all.
And here we go. Dire Wolves, 6-inch pile in.
We're going to activate
Oh, Torgilius gonna go. Make room for even more Dire Wolves.
Yeah, go ahead and kill him, and I'll do my first.
Um,
40, right?
Yeah, that's what I did.
just checking our standing so far. It looks like Anthony Trentinelli won his final game, so finishing on a 4-1 record this weekend here with Slaves of Darkness. I think he played Frederick, who just lost to Anthony. And that seems to be one of the only results in so far. Still about a full hour left in this current round. So a lot of games still happening. Anything can go. But we do have a big game happening right now between Anthony Lawrence and Sam Gould. Hostless Slanesh versus Beast of Chaos. Winner take all for this event, likely. Also another match to keep an eye on is Corey Begley with his Night Haunt at 4-0 versus Derek Perham with Legion of Blood on a 3 wins and a draw. So could we possibly see 5-0 Night Haunt?
Good.
Oh my goodness, would love to see it. Nate Trentinelli, our other Night Haunt player, Night Haunt Nate, did drop a game in his second round, is on 3-1, but I'm pretty confident. Nate's a very strong player, loves his Night Haunt, and his crossbows, he swears by them. I was really hoping that we'd be able to see him here on stream in a 3-0 or 4-0 situation, and I really wanted to witness the crossbows.
2, right?
Yeah, I lost round 2. It was a very tight game from what I understand. But a lot of games this weekend have been very close. Somebody I know has basically only won their games by a single point.
Yep. We even on stream, the points probably were a little bit broader than the actual game state dictated, but it was effectively a priority or two and a couple of hot rolls that decided multiple of the games on stream.
Players now counting bodies on objectives.
So you score 1 damage.
So 3-point turn. I did not change the arrow. I'm so bad at changing the arrow. So 3-point turn for Stormcast for having his home objective and a battle tactic for killing something with his Drake units. Did not have the body count or damage to get through the center objective. I think what he really needed to do is he got a little greedy, put the adjudicators into the dire wolves to try to make room for the fulminators, but really need to just mop the zombies. They've been very effective this game and just picking up zombie models. And the one turn he really needed to do it in order to just clean out that objective. Didn't quite do it.
No.
Shot into the wolves who were already at 5-up base save. They got all defense. So instead of 6-up save zombies, going into 4-up save zombies.
Yeah.
Or 4-up save wolves. So
then we're gonna do eye for an
anyway. And I think that goes to my turn.
So battle tactic coming out from Soulblight, eye for an eye, because he did lose Chattercart and the 20 Graveguard that turn. Mike already has 1 point for his home objective. If he brings back a unit on a 3-up, he'll definitely get his opponent's home objective.
Yeah.
But do you have a
He-
physical place you can put that's outside of 3 of me? This is
Two for
impossible.
boots?
Yep, and I didn't do rod this turn.
No?
And I did not scan this turn.
So here comes a rally on the dragons.
It would be cheeky.
Did not get one back.
So my turn, I hold 3.
Mike was being cheeky and piled his zombies into the vanquishers, which pulled the dragons out of combat so they couldn't pile and fight, but that also opened the door for them to potentially rally back. And if there was a dragon back there, that would have been massive, because there's not really any tools left on the table for him to deal with it.
Yeah.
I just got a bunch of shoots. I gotta kill troops.
Yeah, it's a 24-inch bubble rig. 6.
You still have a jump to it that's gonna come back and run.
Yeah, you got it. Okay.
So Belladamma's Under the Killing Moon was unbound, so no exploding 6s now.
Alright. I think it's time to kill Lord Solar.
What are you doing, man?
We will do Van Hell's Dance Macabre
20 inches?
on an 8.
Put me like right there.
Von Hell's on an 8 allows one of his summonable units that's already in combat to just pile in and fight. Looks like he's
Can't get inside of that, so it's gonna be a little further.
He's gonna pile in the zombies that are already in combat with the vanquishers and tag Gardas and the dragons into combat.
You're about to see what solar
Yeah, good. Well, you know what? We're gonna have fun and we're gonna do push-ups about it.
Now, Gardas actually pretty decent in combat.
Yeah.
Just he is
That's what
Stormcast
most-
Stormcast
yeah,
champ.
most Stormcast heroes actually can do a fair amount of output, especially against something that has no armor set.
I mean, look at the dude. He's in a superhero landing.
Yeah.
You wanna
He
mess
is
with a
very
guy
good
that's in a
at punching the
superhero
ground.
landing pose?
He's very good at punching the ground.
right by, he's very protected.
This dude has 5 attacks at Rend 1, 2 damage. It's actually the same profile as a Vampire Lord.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying?
But he also, I think,
Are you saying Gardas could be a vampire lord?
taking off his mask, it was
Oh, I can see that here.
Always was.
if he's destroyed on a 2-up, he can fight before he's removed.
But, I'm doing my best, a lot of things back, so.
Oh, stop it. You didn't murk it.
Changed teams.
Traitor.
I found it. I was cleaning up.
Corey came in here, the audacity wearing a Tough Crowd shirt. Good thing he's taking it off. How dare he? In the home of Wicked Dicey.
Quite weird
You found
that
it?
Corey had the boy from Up on the back of his jersey.
Is that not? I thought that's what we call him around here.
I'm always up.
Corey, how you doing? How's the event treating you?
It's been good.
Talk
Talk about it. It's been good. No major issues. The hardest part of the weekend was picking the best painted. We had a 4-way tie and then a 2-way tie that we needed 9 people to help decide who the ultimate winner was. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Coming down to the wire.
Everything seems to come down the wire in this weekend.
Yeah. So the, I don't know what the state is on the Anthony Sam game because they're not using score sheets that I can see. So
I don't know.
Those two are so big brained, they have it all in their brain.
well, it's because they score 5 points a turn every turn.
Yeah.
It's literally going to be like, who dropped half a tactic one time?
Who didn't get 1, 2 more, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So. Cool. I'll see you guys.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, that was Corey McKinney. Was he the founder of the
Yeah,
Ironweld?
he's,
Do we
he
call him
is
the founder?
Yeah, he's the, I guess you could call it the, I don't know, chief executive officer.
The man behind the
Wicked Dicey.
curtain.
Yeah. He puts
Corey,
the
a lot on his
W.
plate.
He puts the W and the D in Wicked Dicey.
Indeed, he does. So we have some vanquishers dying in the hero phase to that Von Hell's fighting on death.
I can't just say it's random.
We're gonna jump back and murk my shooty squad, but I don't
Doing
care.
5 damage back. And then
Take 2 more.
2 mortal wounds coming back because they were slain by a melee attack. One more from the explosion.
And then 2 more.
All right.
Does not get the splashback mortal wounds from the explosion because they're not melee attacks.
Oh, interesting.
And now the vanquishes are dead, so it's automatically eye for an eye. So Mike is already looking at 3-point turn for having his home objective, the battle tactic. He'll likely have the bodies to hold the middle again, which will give him an extra point. And then we'll see if he has the awareness of the mission to potentially score another. But call for aid. Those vanquishers are coming back. Sigmar says, "Get back out there!"
Or might.
Just yeet him back. Slightly better than death. They come back immediately. They ain't waiting for a 4-up. They ain't waiting for a 3-up. They ain't waiting for a gore slab.
You just need a command point.
They just have to be wholly within 12 of a hero and a command to be issued. So unfortunately, cannot come back on top of one of those objectives.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna lose.
But
How are you gonna lose? Oh, that's a good point. There's a lot of game left, and you can jump in.
That's not true.
bring him back so that way he can threaten Mike's home objective with them next turn.
Oh, I have 3.
Can't scan there, can't scan there.
That big square piece that's kind of on a diagonal, they are treating that as impassable terrain. The terrain pack here dictates for 2 pieces of impassable, 2 pieces of garrisonable, and then I don't remember the rest.
I think 2 pieces of cover.
2 pieces of cover, but
No, they just.
And then while the placement is dictated in the pack, the actual which ones are which, the defender picks.
Yep. Well, in the Soulblight movement phase, Mike's pulling back with his little heroes. Wants to make sure they're very well protected. There's not a whole lot of meat on the table, strangely, for a Soulblight list. There's just a couple direwolves and just zombies everywhere. So he's gonna...
Yeah, it's being a little flexible there with this measuring.
Of course I am. That's what I do.
How many push-ups is that?
That's at least 25.
I think this might be the last unit that's in the grave. Not sure. We'll get confirmation.
And then I have another 10
This dude is actually here.
to go with this.
Is he dead? Is he dead?
So about to see a lot of zombies on the table.
That's funny. Lieutenant will advance.
If he was back there, he'd be fine. He's always-
He's going 11 inches.
I forgot to bring back models.
Are you
because I'm
serious?
bad at this game.
Dude, I would totally let you have that dude back.
I'm sure.
Maybe I wouldn't. I would probably not.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just get free models.
I just let you move through your models.
Didn't
so
do
that-
it.
That'll be the free.
Alright, so I'm gonna play King's Hence's Odyssey.
Okay.
Fire.
6, 7. Sounds good.
Yep.
So looks like 2 units of 20 zombies showing up out of the grave. I think this is the last of what's in the grave.
Yes, it is.
We do have confirmation. This is the remnants of the grave. Just, you know, casual
Except for those
40
half,
zombies
except
coming
for
back
those
on.
half units that are going to come
Yep,
back.
there's a couple half units. Like, I think there's a half unit of zombies and a half unit of grave
Grave
guard
No, no. Kill 'em
still
all.
in the
wolves.
grave. And the wolves, too. There's quite a bit in there, but you can only bring back 1 a turn, although he does have Gorslav to bring back a 2nd unit, too.
It's strong. Very
Yeah.
strong.
It's strong, especially if you're running a lot of minimum units. Gorslav
Yeah.
really shines, and that's really where Mike's list is built around, is just having a lot of minimum units.
Shooting, Cornelius is gonna shoot to the 4 meters.
Everything should go this way.
Torgilius shooting, even though he retreated.
Advanced. I can't
Oh no,
remember
he's
what-
already still in combat. He didn't retreat.
These guys are here.
It's 2d6 shots. It's on 4s and 4s.
Okay. So we'll do
4 damage
these
here.
dudes here.
Fail 2. Torgilius randomly has 2d6 shooting attacks at 18-inch range. 4s and 4s.
2 damage.
Rend 1, 2 damage each.
That is
Just randomly has a pretty solid shooting attack that's good at just punking on some chip wounds.
is like the lore behind it. They're throwing a zombie or something.
They're like necromantic bolts that are like shooting out, but like it's
Ninja
not a
stars.
book of shooting, and it's just randomly good damage. Especially Mike doesn't have it, but if you combine it with Spirit Gale, you can
Oh,
put a lot
yeah.
of chip damage on units, and then you find a weak one and just throw it. Because I mean, even if Torgilius only does like 4 damage, like we just saw, that can pick up a unit that's
Yeah.
been Spirit Gale down over the course of 2 or 3 turns.
Absolutely. Or at least cause extra panics, right? Or extra bravery rolls. That's a big thing, is that dividing out the bravery rolls, because there's only one inspiring presence that can be handed out, is super effective against, especially these armies with lots of units.
I guess you're going to go.
Yeah, I forgot the parts.
For a frag, I don't think so. Still kill.
We're just
Kill 3.
eating right here.
So
And we'll chair of him actually.
Mike charging his first unit of zombies in.
Well, it's the second fire unit.
Here comes
Oh, it's still the same unit, I believe.
here comes an Unleash Hell from.
No, you're all. Going to.
So he's got looks like
So I asked.
8 in range here for the Unleash, which potentially delete this unit.
Yep.
Good use of an Unleash. You know, he had really bad shooting phase. Not quite what he was should have been shooting into going to dire wolves that shooting phase.
Yeah, and given that there's no rend, it's
Basically,
actually a good
yeah.
shot, because he also can't all out
These-
defense. Mike can't all out defense on this.
These bolt storms should just be shooting zombies and nothing but zombies all game. That's it. Just, is it a zombie? Yes, shoot it. Is that not a zombie? Don't
Don't
shoot.
worry about it. Does it have armor? No.
You know, you've got fulminators and dragons to deal with things like Graveguard, Radikar, and everything else. Bolt storms, zombies. If you're listening and you're running bolt storms, zombies.
These guys know rapid fire here. The 2, 3 they can see.
So 11 saves.
11 saves coming out here.
Take 2 wounds. And then I got 3 hits.
Zombies with a 6-up save, no all defense because it is a charge phase,
Yep.
and a 6-up ward save because I think they might be within Torgilius's bubble.
No range, 1 damage.
Oh, 11 at no range.
Pistol
I
in
get
combat.
Saves 1,
I don't know if it's pistol.
and then he's got 1 that just goes through from the 2 damage.
Alright.
That's only 2, right?
I'm sure they have pistol.
So 12 damage here, 6-up ward saves,
So we'll do 3 missiles.
and he's just measured. He's out of Torgilius's bubble, so only 6-up wards, not 5-ups.
So do the guys who first.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Well, the other missiles can't
Kills
shoot anybody.
7 zombies.
One's in line.
Yeah. There's 3 guys.
On 3.
And zombies only do mortal wounds when you slay them with melee attacks.
Yep. So shoot him dead.
Shoot him
Doesn't
dead.
matter. Probably the preferable way to kill zombies if you're playing, if you're in some sort of zombie apocalypse. Probably
You-
kill
now-
them before they can actually get to you.
Well, here's the flip side to that, is in zombie apocalypse, you might only have a limited amount of ammunition.
That's true.
So you need to be very sparingly. So it gets a big horde of zombies.
Yeah,
Probably just run if you can, but yeah, you want to shoot them if it comes down to that. But
blow them up, something like that.
I mean, if it's a small unit of like 7 zombies, you might
7
want to
zombies to
consider
shoot.
just trying to pick them off in melee a little bit.
Fortunately, in the U.S., we have huge clips of ammunition.
Oh, there's no short of that.
Yeah,
short of
no,
that.
that's fine. You can go to a Walmart and buy yourself
Yeah.
3,000 bullets.
You know, there's
to
there's a
shoot
lot
zombies.
of GTs down in Texas. I'm sure you can just go to a GT down there and they'll just give you some ammunition with
Yeah.
your entry.
You're required. It's, I mean,
You're required.
it's not an optional.
You just
character.
get off the plane and they hand you your AR.
All my indirects.
That's it. Good for killing zombies. And wild hogs, apparently. Outside of that, any other comment I make is going to get bad.
That's still this one.
60 of them operate.
Still this one. Did you put everything into them?
No, that's, yes, I did.
Yes.
That's what it's doing. Well, they gotta do the indirects.
Oh, so the indirects didn't go to them.
The indirects all went to that's best.
One of the fulminators looks like they got killed.
Yep, I believe there's a vampire lord in there.
Yeah.
He's taking 5.
10.
Wait, yeah.
So he has 1 with left.
D6.
No, you need 6.
We're gonna pile 3 this way.
And then Virko's being able to double activate.
He's gonna attack my hero.
2 AP1. 2
Mike with the awareness, and he wants to pile in those zombies, prevent the dragons from being able to pile in and attack the heroes.
Yep.
Oh, the fulminator can still pile in like, a little bit.
You can always get more zombies. You can get more heroes.
Unless you're a right king.
Yeah, but he doesn't have one.
He doesn't have one. Right kings got a pretty big buff. They're now summonable, so if one dies, you can bring it back, and you can, since it's summonable, Deathly Invocation can also heal wounds off it.
Seems good.
It's very thematic. I actually like that change.
It should be, right? It's,
Yeah.
He's basically a more beefy animated skeleton. He's a grave carter sergeant.
Do great. Yeah.
Those guys staying alive over there was super clutch.
Go ahead. Force.
Yeah, that's why I left.
You're going to have 2 saves, 1 mortal.
So just 2 saves and 1 mortal wound coming through. Just takes 1. Oh, saved 1 mortal wound, so nothing. So Fulminator now activating. Interested to see what he picks because there's.
Keep leaving it on my temp, so I'm not gonna. No, previously, that's why I have 14 minutes right now.
Okay.
That's because you shoot 1,000 guns.
Take a peek, see what he's swinging at.
So, my Marines are gonna go touch those guys.
Sorry, all that defensive.
So 1 minus 2.
So Fulminator swinging into the Vampire Lord. I believe this is one with the Ulfin Phylactery, which adds +1 to ward saves.
Yes, this is the 5-up.
So, I mean, still is Torgilius, but the thing about the Ulfin Phylactery is it adds 1 to your Deathless Minion saves, which gives the Grave Guard a 5-up rerolling 1.
Yeah.
3, all that defense saves me to a 2. Okay. So I'll take 1.
He's fighting.
Take 1.
Final round of
We will activate Vamplord.
And
They actually see that I was hoping for this armor.
Vampire Lord did not die, so any damage the Vampire Lord does, he'll heal with the Hunger.
Nobody else is awesome. Take Emperor Spears. They're all
3 rend 1.
3 Ren 1 saves.
We've seen more Emperor Spears and more
2 damage.
Gillen and White Spears.
Nope. It's going to explode.
Finishes off the Fulminator.
Cool. And he'll heal the 1 wound that you allocate.
Fight lasted, I don't care about them.
Which allows me to activate here, and we're going to pile in the wolves so you can't hit my heroes.
The chain activation is so strong.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Getting a nod from the table, so yes, we have properly.
We're having a scrap. Alright, so I don't care about solar right now, I don't care about these guys. They can
Yeah,
fight.
double activation is whenever a hero lights, he can pick another unit wholly within 12, so you can't chain off of 2 summonable units. And you can't chain off of a chain activation, so you can't
Right,
chain heroes
right.
back to back to back to back.
Unless you're Iron Jaws.
I can't declare on
Unless you're Iron Jaws. And you get to
Oh,
smash
yeah,
and
you
bash.
smash,
You wipe
bash,
them
bash,
out,
bash.
Move on to the next thing. Smash them again. Crump them.
Duff up the big stuff.
Or little stuff. It doesn't matter. As long as you crump something, next thing you get to go.
But a lot of people
There comes Gardas.
use successor challenge traits. In fact, this company
Don't let your Gardas down. Coming hot.
Ha. But
is often used for Carcadon.
double,
That's beautiful.
So
double.
that's 6 damage. 6 minus 1 for the.
6 total.
So, 6 damage coming to zombies because it's Ren 1, 2 damage each.
And I do failed anyway. So, 5?
Mike, check.
I rolled 1 6. So.
No mortal wounds back. 5 zombies are dead.
7.
Looks like we have some more 40k players checking out the superior game system of Age of Sigmar. Looking to see what a real game system looks like over here.
You have to stay here because the dark
Why
so
not?
much cooler.
We know.
We got dragons, we got zombies. We don't have space marines. What more could you ask for?
He's playing Stormcast.
Yeah, I mean, it's close enough. Yeah.
He's playing Stormcast. It's close.
My first charger, he was going into solar.
Yep.
I can do either one because your fight lasted, but he's a charger. So
You know what would be awesome in 40k though? A Skaven faction.
Yeah.
I want to see Skaven in 40k would be amazing.
People have talked about that a bunch, and actually, I knew a guy who converted a guard army to be Skaven. It was Skaven model guard. It was Ratman. He had all the heads replaced, all the old models, the ones that you used to be able to get the heads separately. Back in my day.
So 15 damage coming out of the dragons into the zombies. Again, no save because they're base 6 up, and all of this is Ren 2 and Ren 1. Going straight to 5 up wards because they're in range of Torgilius, who sets their ward to a 5 up. So, unfortunately, I don't know if Mike is going to have the bodies to hold the center.
Yeah.
But he will hold his opponents for 2, his own for 1, and he will get his battle tactic for a 5-point turn. And he did wipe the zombies all off the center. We have an earthquake happening in the realm of Gur as their players hit, and a 5-point turn for Mike.
That one's priority
Oh,
for turn
Party
1.
going into round 4, 2-point game, super tight.
You want me a leadership?
Mike wins party and immediately says, "I'll take it." No hesitation.
Almost like he thought about it ahead of time.
That's what I gotta tell myself. That's how I roll. And then moving to threes. So 5.
Alright,
Maybe 4s, man. Yeah, probably
what
4s.
are we going
That's
to do
6.
here?
So Mike got a thing about how he's going to recover. Interesting. I don't know if he necessarily absolutely needed to, but felt like he needed to take it because there is all that shooting. I think he's worried about the dire wolves being picked up with shooting, and then the
Yeah.
dragons getting into his heroes.
If he gets a good, I don't know what battle tactic he's gonna choose. But this could absolutely be a 6-point turn for him.
He's 6 wounds?
Confirm that.
Cool. What's his save? 3.
So 3 attacks.
Mike mulling over what he can do here. There are quite a lot of easy battle tactics available to him.
So 9
On 3 wounds total. 4, 82.
So 4. 5 ups. I make 1, I ignore 1, 2 guys drop. Multi-damage?
There is a pretty cheeky move you could do with dire wolves with a battle tactic, but I'm gonna wait till after Mike chooses his.
Yeah.
So leadership then?
We're going to do expand the Great Vampires.
-5.
So
2 objectives wholly outside my territory are contested by summonable or vampire.
1s and 2s.
yep, expand the corpse empire is coming out, so he needs to control the 2 objectives that are not his home one, so that's center, and then the one at the bottom right. So his entire army is summonable or vampire, so he basically has to control those 2 objectives. Now what you could do with dire wolves is you do grasping dead. So the battle tactic to figure in combat, you get it if you end a turn in combat with a unit. It doesn't specify the same unit. So what we can actually do is retreat the dire wolves out of combat and then use our 6-inch pile-in to get into another unit that's going to do less damage. So you could potentially retreat them out of combat with the dragons and then pile in to Gardas, who's not going to be able to kill all of these dire wolves. And you actually get a battle tactic there.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's quite the shenanigans.
Quite a lot of shenanigans in this book.
Magic, we're going to maybe attempt to get exploding 6s for once. It will go off on an 8.
So here's the exploding 6s off of Belladama.
Solar is going to tell.
We're good.
Okay,
yeah,
master.
master.
We got a-
Here comes Master Magic reroll.
No, I hold this
No,
one too.
I'm
I
outside.
We have a cock die.
I got it.
Only gets an 8 on the unbind, so exploding 6 is up for Mike.
So there, how many wounds are these
So
guys?
that's fine.
So it's 2 in each hands.
And this guy here, he's going to tell them
We're going to
to
attempt
fall
to
back
lightning
and
curse.
Here comes the lightning curse
On a 12.
Do things?
with a 12. So D3 mortal wounds.
Yep.
What's guard's
Every keyword.
action?
Lord Solar is going to fall back also.
3 more wounds.
3 mortal wounds coming to the bolts.
Order and just leave combat?
Yeah, bro.
So 1 guy dies exactly enough to bring in a dire wolf.
He turns into a wolf.
I'm just asking. Only please are one.
He's got to be in combat, so he can't be shot.
He's going to be fine because he was
Where are the little wolves?
So the dire wolf comes into play within 3 of the unit with the slain model.
We're going to teleport. We're going to come back here and do R&D.
The unit that has the slain model.
The unit that has
Yeah, yeah.
22 minutes.
I'm going to remove this guy or his current.
No, we're on stream. It takes longer to set up here.
Before removing the last slate model, you can add one.
Because do push-ups on me in the middle of
number of models
Yeah, but on each other's turns, and I owe 20.
No,
by the
that
way.
many models are the same, so.
So you only got two on blue so far,
Unit
right?
within 3 of the same models unit, then remove the same model.
over here, please. Give me
Yeah.
some
So
space.
Tyrell gets added, then the model gets.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what I do.
Yeah, just clarifying, the Lichen Curse is a little complicated for the first time you hear it, so just
Yep.
making sure our players, Stormcast player, fully understands it. We know Mike fully understands the spell,
They're gonna do R&D in this corner.
so.
And that means he's gonna.
So that's Belladonna. We are going
So that means
to,
they can't unleash hell because there's a dire wolf in them.
Right.
Van Hell's Dance
It is
Column.
amazing for stopping that.
We'll fail, I think it needs. Yep. And then
Check.
we will,
Uh,
the last
cheap,
time,
cheap units that are fast. Very important.
And if it dies, you can bring it back.
If it dies, it dies.
No, it comes back.
I know. And then it dies again.
Ah,
And then maybe again.
probably can.
we're gonna randomly attempt to Soulblight. So they charge the immortals to themselves. We'll go off on 9. Sure.
So.
Yeah.
Soulpike going off on the Vanquisher unit, so when they charge, evil's dice equal to the charge, and then every 4 spawn win.
Yep.
Yeah. So from there, 6 attacks, 3/3, snag 1/1.
Looks like we have an update. Our Night Haunt player did drop his last game to Legion of Blood, so we do have a 4-win and a draw Soulblight Gravelord player here. Probably second place there unless our top table draws, as there's only going to be one 5-0. So Derek Perham locking in second. Soulblight Gravelords.
Yeah. Yep.
That is a Neferata list, Vampire Lord Zombie Dragon, the standard Doom Minions, Cloak, Vile Transference, Vampire Lord Foot, Spirit Gale, Tunnel Master, 30 skeletons, 10 skeletons, 10 skeletons, a unit Fell Bats, 10 Blood Knights, and a Corpse Cart for an additional +1 cast. So that's a +2 to casting for all of his guys when they're not in
You
combat.
just wanna back them up and be out of 12.
We're just gonna leave those 4.
In a double battle regiment, 2,000 points on the dot. Pretty solid list.
Just need to check if I can teleport to
And you gotta be 6 inches in, right?
Wait,
this
for
is
re-
I know, but you wanna do the action.
during my next round.
Perfect there. Perfect, and now you're out of range
I
where you
can
can't
retreat
retreat.
here
Life
and
is good.
teleport.
You're a happy camper.
Yeah. Wait, you can retreat and teleport?
Yeah.
What's it say?
So I won't shoot you
You can
anymore.
pick
I promise.
instead of normal moves.
I'm gonna get
Instead
my
of
push
picking
ups
to
while you're
make a normal
messing
move
around.
or retreat, you can say that it's
You know how nice my language was?
And
Where the fuck's stream?
so it's very specific.
That's sweet.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm out of 12.
I was checking something else.
Oh, really?
So,
Some cheating stuff you got?
I was
gonna
gonna
choose here.
Yeah, right.
Alright, so I'll start with
Come over
this,
there.
these guys over here are gonna shoot your biker bro.
just move it forward here.
I'll use my no, I won't use any uniform. Let's do the plasmas first.
Yep.
Hitting on
Now, interesting choice. Mike's moving up these zombies towards the center. That big square is an impassable piece of terrain. So he's choosing to prep those zombies, potentially round 5, get them towards the center objective, and fight over there instead of lock down his home objective even more. Home objective worth 2 points. Mike already ahead by 2, top of 4.
Fails 2, 1 damage.
And now it's his turn.
And it is his turn, yeah.
Save my seat.
And he might.
Pretty likely, given the board state, he's going to be able to pick up 5, maybe 6 his turn. It's going to be tough for Jeff to come back in 1 turn worth of scoring.
Absolutely. So it looks like he's retreating out the dire wolves because he wants to charge in
Well, then also get
those
their
20
pile on.
zombies into the dragons and lock down the dragons for more zombies, and then pile on more bodies to that center
Yep.
objective.
Yep.
I have 2 doesn't fail. 1 damage.
Keeping the dire wolves within 6 of the dragons so they can pile in. Dragons unable to redeploy, unable to unleash hell because that one dire wolf that got summoned in from the Lichen Curse.
I thought you just shot the thing.
Let's put this guy's
And Mike has brought back the 10 Grave Guard,
trying to keep that guy alive.
which he is reinforcing that home objective with 10 Grave Guard.
Yeah.
So now 2 units testing that objective up there, which will require a little bit more than just 5 Vanquishers.
Yep.
This guy here.
Oh,
He has 2 health, right?
yeah.
So rerolling 1s.
Shooting, shooting into the dragon.
I don't know if I did.
Well, I'm very much glad that this is on a holiday weekend, so don't have to work tomorrow.
It is nice.
I can use a nap.
I'll be driving home after this event wraps up. Probably get home at midnight, and
How long is the
So,
drive? Is it
it's about 6 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, they were heavy.
It's a little less so there's no traffic.
I was gonna say Sunday. Now it shouldn't be too
bad,
Hopefully,
because everybody's
people
probably
either
still
drive-
staying for
yeah,
tomorrow.
You're either there
Yeah.
or you're not. It's like driving on Friday sucked, but
Yep. When I came up here last year for Ironweld, I think it took me like 7 hours with traffic, but then on the way back it took me like 5 hours.
yep.
I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's
So hopefully I'll be able to get home by like 10 or 11.
the traffic gods in Boston are very fickle. I am either 2 hours from here or 35 minutes, depending on the time of day and the traffic.
All right, so updates. Gardas is finest hour, expecting to take a lot of abuse. He is in a position where if you charge him, obviously you're pulling in dragons as well.
There are 2 dragons left?
There are 2 dragons left, and they're on a 2-up save. Basically, only mortal wounds are going to damage them.
Yeah.
But do we think Mike has mortal wounds? If he does, there's a corpse cart. And zombies are doing mortal wounds on death every time they die. Well, not every time, on a 5-up.
Well, I suppose there's probably a unit too that's used to, I don't know, doing something around a grave, patrolling. There might probably be a better way to phrase it, but they're generally watching the grave, keeping track of it, making sure it's taken care of. Could even say guarding the grave. Oh, grave guard. That's it. That's the unit.
We got there.
We got there eventually. It's been a long weekend. We're
So,
we're
failing his
breaking
charge
heat.
with that 20 zombies at top, Mike deciding if it's worth the command point to potentially get them. Oh, no, he did make it, just barely. Not the charge he really wanted. He wanted a much bigger one, but
3 saves and 2 mortals?
you take what you can get.
2 saves. So I'll do it on this front grab side.
Hopefully everybody watching is having a fantastic weekend. I know we are,
AP2. So 5
because we're watching Age of Sigmar, not 40K. I mean, did I keep saying that? I'm sorry. Maybe I'm not.
Kind of flack. They seem to be doing fine. Although
Yeah, they seem to actually be having a good time at this table. Yesterday they had 2 back-to-back Chaos Knights. One was actually converted from like the little mini Gargants,
Yep.
like the Man Crusher Gargants, which is actually pretty cool. Guy recognizing Age of Sigmar models, probably better converting his Chaos Knights from them.
Even 30-year-old Ale Guzzler Gargants. Man Crusher, Ale Guzzler, Chaos
And then-
Gargants, they're all the same kit.
They can lead combat and charge.
And we also had a game of I think it was Chaos Demons versus Tau.
Yep.
So it was a bunch of
Yep.
tanks versus a bunch of big old greater demons. Which I'm actually gonna give 40K a try myself when the new edition comes out. I mean, I already
Yeah.
have plenty of Chaos Demons from Age of Sigmar,
Yep.
and I've been slowly working for about a year and a half. Some Chaos Knights. I almost have 1 painted by now on my off time. But I'm gonna get there.
Yeah, I have a fairly sizable Death Guard army and all the demons to go for Nurgle. I also have a lot of other demons that I had painted for 40K back in the day. When used to be play like a Chaos Soup.
Wow.
You could have demons of all sorts of types. So I have some Bloodletters, I have some Horrors, I have some Brimstones, I have all sorts of stuff.
He gets to do orders and Chapter Master? And lead combat?
So, failing our stomp with our monstrous rampage. I think he was trying to pop that unit of 1 wolves. So, Vampire Lord issuing +1 attack. Mike still not playing towards the mission and not putting a GV tagging that center objective. Interesting. So it is worth an extra point. I think he
Yeah.
has missed out on 1 or 2 points so far. And in a game this close, it could be a factor.
Because you were grabbing this score and I'm like, wait, we're not done.
always important for everyone. Each of these missions does have its own kind of special rules and flavor. Some of them can be pretty varying, so always have the heads up to understand, you know, where you can get your maximum points from.
Yep. Yeah, because when you are talking about a differential of 2 or 3 points at the end, it's really material. Because if that had been there for two rounds, all of a sudden.
This is a game of kind of fixed scoring where there's only so many points you could score each turn, and over the course of the entire game.
And there's a handful of bonus points to scrape around the various missions, although comically, almost everybody screws up those missions. Like idols, where you can, if an idol kills an idol in your turn, and it's a if they do or if they don't, not how many you kill, then you get the point for it. But a lot of people play it as just, oh, my idol killed your idol. Doesn't matter when. Let's go ahead.
72 attacks on
Everybody was in range?
zombies.
72?
Yeah, realm command. Because I piled in. I didn't pile in. Oh, I can't do it on the charge.
I got
Should be a 5.
5.
I got 3. 1,
Mine is 18.
2, 3.
Our player at the table self-realizing that he charged the unit and cannot use the realm command because he made a
I like
charge.
this journey we went on.
Sometimes all it takes is a look of oddity.
Yeah, talking it out yourself. 72 attacks on the zombies, got knocked down by 18, so it's going to be 50.
So you're at
I feel like I'll go
6,
13 instead of 15.
13?
Yeah, let's grab next.
54
And you have
attacks.
5 boots on the
So
ground.
54 swings coming from zombies.
In total,
I believe they have the exploding 6s to hit. We have the head nod of approval.
From
and
both.
And 6s to wound, doing a mortal wound from the corpse cart. Pretty spicy.
Oh, yeah.
Kill
Wicked spicy.
Still do their shit, right? I can kill them.
Did you take your saves here? 'Cause
Yeah.
some dudes died, right?
No, I saved one, failed one, ignore the first one per phase. They completely live.
Now, if you can pick up Gardas, that'd be huge. Gardas is a 5-up ward and providing that 5-up
Yep.
ward bubble. And that will completely eliminate all of the ward saves on the Stormcast side.
Advance.
Wasn't there any saves?
I don't know. I did
He's
it.
doing the thing that needs to be done.
Rolling
Torgilius.
dice. Rolling dice.
I have all the minutes in the world.
How many wounded first?
All the minutes in the world. Thank you, Steve.
You're gonna have 2 mortals.
We gotta pick those 3 guys up. End the game
And
scoring.
2, 4, 6, 8, 6.
So hold 2 mortal wounds and 8 saves. Gardas is already finest hour, so he's on a 2-up.
This is the second round, so I think it was.
You think? You wanna pause it? Take it?
Gardas taking 4 wounds. He's got 2 left.
My turn.
That was pretty spicy. That means if Gardas swings, he could potentially kill himself on zombie swings.
Yep.
And this would be scan this time. So I would get 3 again here.
My next turn, I'm gonna do an R&D onto that side. Actually, I'm just gonna do it over here because I'm gonna drop my little skunk boys. Oh wait,
Because I kept Gav here, so he's
Yeah,
the closest, or they're the closest.
Alright, well,
so
that was my
yeah.
bad. So they're just, I'm gonna get R&D
Yeah,
over
but
there.
it's like good
Uh,
just you were there, but yeah, that count because they're he's here, right?
You would again.
It's funny because I was saving them for that,
So-
and I forgot it.
Mike, despite a couple errors in some of his move phase with some of his placements, leaving some wide openings, has become a master here at, at dictating where these pile-ins are going to happen. He's pretty on point in his textbook, pinning in those dragons so that you cannot pile those dragons in a way that they pull those wolves out of 6. And that's what our Stormcast player is trying to measure.
They're not in combat.
See if there's a way that he could prevent those dire wolves from piling onto the objective.
Yep.
Because the dragons will have to swing, which means that's 10 more bodies essentially getting onto the middle objective for free to have 10 more bodies on there to contest. And Josh, remind me, how many bodies do 2 dragons count as on an objective?
They count for 5 each, right? Yeah, 5 each.
So
They're monsters.
So that's 10. So if those dire wolves can just pile on the objective and not take any damage back, then you automatically tie the dragons,
That's
and the
correct.
zombies will then outnumber what's left.
And they're just extra. Zombies are extra. That's of all the dragons live through it. Although I don't think any attacks are going into the dragons.
Unless you take it, but nothing. You take it to make sure that's.
But I see. You're absolutely right. Is that those dire wolves can just pile down,
So-
basically, on the screen.
It looks like he split the dragon attacks, one into one unit, one in the other. I think he's trying to force a battle shock test on one of these zombie units. I was interested to see how he would do this. If he would try to split the attacks and force the battle shock, or just try to wipe that unit in with Gardas, so that way he doesn't take any damage on zombie deaths.
And now there was some zombie deaths back and a couple of damage on one of the dragons.
There's gonna be some splashback happening here, but at least they'll slow the 5-up word.
All 100% of my indirect in my mind goes there because they have to be. Right.
And now we're gonna.
And then the next turn after, I'll give you one more.
So I'm going to take the wolf.
So give yourself one more for free.
Actually, instead swinging into the top zombie, he's just gonna pick up the wolf with that full dragon attack. Interesting. I thought he would have just used the dragon into the Tempest to just try to pick it up on a 3-up, right? But.
We can roll this out and see if it does.
And to no one's surprise,
Oh, yeah. Never mind.
Like, I'm not gonna use
dire
both,
wolves
but you definitely-
piling
I'm not saying
onto the objective. The attacks really don't matter.
Cool.
That was fucking great.
Uh,
Good job.
but there is enough room for Gardas to now pile in and potentially swing on wolves. So Mike very intentional in placing his dire wolves here to make sure that he has to swing on
They
zombies.
just talk it through too, making sure that they're far enough away so that guards with his 1-inch range can't hit him. So he's outside 4, within 3 of the dragon. Guards is
And I want to shoot.
Champion.
Yeah, I want to shoot, so I'm not.
So here we go. He basically wants to whiff everything here.
For hanging out for a good day this weekend.
Reroll that.
So then that would be.
So actually, because of that, it might have killed it.
So 6 damage going through to zombies here. 5-up word saves.
Oh wait, minus? I'm choosing not to take my score.
So he is selecting not to take the word saves to instead roll 6 dice and try to bounce mortal wounds back.
2 more wounds.
2 mortal wounds. He needs a single 5-up to keep Gardas alive.
I'm letting the money guy figure it out.
And Gardas lives. Gardas says, "Not today, Nagash."
You look death in the face and you say, "Not today."
11.
No, not today.
Not in my house. Unkibe Mutombo. No, not in my house.
If you follow me on Twitch, maybe able to
Me, I got 4,
catch me over there. But otherwise, stay tuned for normal content. Check the Tuesday on Tuesday as normal. And I'll see you around.
So about 22 minutes left in the round.
No, that's what you're.
Still plenty of games going on at the Anthony Lawrence
Yeah.
Sam Gould
No,
showdown.
First one.
Still going on.
Still going on.
Doing your skins thing.
I don't even. Who knows if they're even
They
playing?
call that War of the Man Bun.
They could even
It's
just
the-
be playing Werewolf right now.
They could. It might be a thing. It is no offense to Jeffrey, but
Yeah, so you gotta.
Sam and Anthony have like ginormous man buns.
8 plus.
I'm out of range for mortals, so you'll have 3 no dragons. Ha, take 1, 2.
Walt?
Just do it. Cool.
That's why, yeah, for you.
I'm done with combats.
Right, so I have, so he needs to
54. 54 is
Yeah. You're in first.
I did.
So the zombies on the left did pull in the bolt storms within 3. So opportunity to pile these guys in. Stormcast will go next, and I perfectly fine with just piling them in there because that's really what you want to shoot anyway. You want to blast off that zombie unit. So, oh no, I'm gonna have to shoot the thing that's already extremely effective
There's
at.
no even decision point to it, right? It's I should have shot this, and now I have to shoot
But what
that.
I don't know is do I
Yeah,
get to make sure
I'm
if
impressed.
90 push-ups a day.
I'm impressed with my opponent.
Oh, here we go. I'm pretty sure it's control, but we're getting a check on the battle tactic here to see if he actually gets it, because got to refresh my app because it's timed out.
But that's kind of playing with my.
Battle.
No, it's in the Soulblight book. I'm checking it now.
You know what's really scary when you're running out of
We're
money?
in scoring. If a GB's on
Oh, of a deletion champ.
yeah, my Vampir's on it. So I don't know if I get an extra.
Ours for the taking, is that it?
I have not had a real
Ours for
dollar
taking.
for me.
Score 1 victory point if you control the center objective and it's contested by a Galatian champion. So do you control the center?
No.
Then you don't.
Computer related?
That's all I need.
Okay.
Zero technology. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
So-
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Thank you for the game, Pat. It was
10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
You're a great
Does this count as one?
Well, it's part of the so yeah, it counts as 2 or 3.
I actually might have to.
This style of layout is always my toughest.
Players mapping out to see, does Mike actually have the center or not? Because this,
9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
I gotta think about how to play better if I go second, because that's
11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So
We're
we're
playing
tied.
a fantastic game.
Who had it last? If we're tied.
And I went second. I took the point.
Oh, nice. I get an extra one. You want one now, too?
Yeah.
You want
Don't get
a
second.
Macho Man dice?
I want anyone you want to give up.
We should be tied.
So you can either have Macho
But I
Man or
didn't
you
play
can
any
go, yeah.
as much.
What we're looking at is it seems like the players are tied on the point, which would mean that it stays in control.
Good state.
So next time we play, I forgot to
Yeah.
bring the.
no,
figured
Stormcast
it
did
out?
could not, the Stormcast did have the range to pile in more bodies on. He didn't take his full pile in, they were just kind of going
They just
quick.
kind of went quick. Yeah.
Didn't think about it. Mike, being the absolute champ he is,
Yep. And it was one buddy, right? So all it was
Yeah.
was towing on.
so
one of
Mike will
those
get
boys.
1 point for his home objective, 2 points for his opponent's home for 3 points.
And
Maybe
about that.
not in fact.
The other guard.
I got my friend. Oh, no, I didn't.
No.
I third these guys in here.
So who won? Will won?
99,
You did, I thought you did expand the Corpse Empire.
Oh, expand the yeah, they're in combat.
Did demons go second?
I thought you did expand, which is the.
No. I used the one.
You did Grasping Dead?
The one where they have to stay, if they were in 3, they have to end in 3.
Okay, so you did Grasping Dead with the Dire Wolves.
Yeah.
No?
Oh, yeah, no, we're good. So I haven't killed anything. I don't know, this army doesn't do damage. I just stay on points. And make your life frustrating because you have a billion bodies.
So Battle Tactic?
Yes.
That was good. That was enjoyable. I'm sweating because
Yeah, it's hot here. It's hot.
It is nuclear in here. Because we had this entire conversation, you were talking about me retreating dogs and then putting them back in. Which is what I do with
thought-
mighty skull crushes.
All right. So Stormcast player figuring out what battle tactic you can get. If you can get Desecrate.
That would be like a man in.
Bottom of four.
Mike does have something in the grave, so or not in the grave, but something dead that can come back on a 4-up. So Desecrate not quite that achievable.
Trevi, thank you for everything, brother.
Thank you.
So you only had to call me out once. That was great.
One time.
Yeah. I'm impressed with myself.
I had to call you out like 5 times.
But that doesn't matter. I was doing the same to you. We're supposed to do that.
I'm going to try to.
I actually like that because then the drama can't stop.
Oh, these guys are
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to.
Nobody,
I am not
nobody
opposed to
gets
that one.
to scroll back through the
This one?
line and find something that they don't like.
I'm thrilled with that.
We just hit that right in the butt. Now you know. Now everyone
No,
knows
I
you know.
to be
If you
technical.
do it again, everyone can point to the video and go,
To
oh!
be technical, but I have
So,
no idea what I got called out for.
Our 40K game is wrapping up, so there might be some additional background noise.
Yeah.
They're finally having fun because they're no longer playing 40K, and it's being cleaned up.
They're just big dogs.
Stormcast down by 7 here, bottom of 4, kind of tight on battle tactics.
It's gonna be a real challenge.
Yeah, it's gonna be a real challenge because he doesn't really
Running out
have
of models.
he doesn't really have anything that can really contest either of the side objectives.
Yep.
So if you get a battle tactic, you could still score 5 points here. This one's mine. Coming out here, he's gonna attempt to kill his zombies with his general, which is that Lord Castellan. He's gonna come in with his lantern, like the Green Lantern of old, and say, I don't know what he sounds like. I'm just making.
Ryan Reynolds, right? Wasn't he the Green Lantern in one of
Oh
the movies?
gosh, I'm sure he wants to forget about that.
Yeah, but he was. When
But
I
he
see
was.
Green Lantern, I picture Ryan Reynolds.
It will always be there.
Yep.
They're gonna put it into the National Archives.
Whatever that is.
There's only 2.
So 40K players now looking at the superior game system here.
Man, what if we had this is cute.
What's a Sigmar? So.
In a very fun conversation between the two 40K guys, what if we actually had to hold objectives?
That were that big.
Just nod
Yeah.
to
Did
each
they
other.
know though that I was trolling? Actually, do you know what Age of Sigmar is?
Whatever you need to tell yourself.
We've already established that that's where I need to spend my life.
Yep.
Tell myself all kinds of things.
I just
Thank
don't
you,
respect
guys.
it.
Jesus Christ.
So, so this one's mine. Work is silent. Looking to come in here, bop some zombies.
I don't have any mobility. I think let's take that back.
You
It's the
can
white one.
try to pick them up.
Yeah, I can try and be killed by the other guys behind.
You can charge into the other guys. Remember, you're gonna mortal yourself if you charge. I just wanted to get off.
Alright,
This round started at 1 o'clock.
Yep, so about 15 minutes
Yep.
left in this round. So
Yeah. So
they might end up having to kind of talk through the final rounds.
Yeah, I think
you know,
it'll be
Stormcast.
quite fast.
Stormcast's already down by 7.
Yeah,
Very
if
limited
they weren't
options
down
here.
by 7, and then I would think it might be closer, but I have a feeling this is going to turn on its side.
So we're almost to the point where we're going to talk it out. You know, even with Mike, you know. Oh, and they've already rolled out that he'll be able to get Desecrate for the battle tactic.
Yep.
Teleporting that Night Zephyros.
I would begin with those.
That was what we streamed.
So
The actual final difference.
his battle tactic, instead of this one's mine, doing Desecrate. So he should have 2 points there. Probably 1 point for the center after all this is done. And then the Lord Castellan, if it tags the center, we get an extra point.
Yep.
So 5 point turn, which will still put him down by 2, going into 5. And the grand strategy for Stormcast is take what's theirs. I don't see that coming
It's
into
gonna
play.
be a challenge. Big challenge.
I don't see that one happening.
Very unintrusive.
We're gonna.
And Mike has the Hold More Grave Sites, which seems to be the what everybody wants to play.
Yep, it's just a much better one. You know, you get to place the grave sites first. Soulblight usually still has models on the table at the end of the battle. It's just pretty simple to kind of dictate that. Especially if you play conservatively with your grave sites and,
Yep.
and don't overextend too many, because you don't have to have all of them. You just have to have more than your opponent.
That's not the Speed Freaks channel. Speed Freaks channel is only positivity.
Love it. Alright, see you later.
Alright, so let's try to do stuff.
Okay.
This one moves. I'm going to stay there for now. I'm going to shoot.
Okay.
So shooting the crossbows into the zombies.
So
I think. Oh, I don't have a choice anyway, so yeah. Good luck.
So here we have the shooting bolt storm crossbows into the zombies they're already in combat with. Basically, the one thing they want to shoot anyway is zombies.
Alright, love.
Might as well call them the zombie removers.
I'm going to let attack them so I can hit them.
So
And
a lot of shots coming into these zombies.
18, so 18 saves
18 saves on these zombies,
and plus 6 damage.
and
10
s-
damage.
and 10 damage because it's Ren 2 damage
Yep.
on those
Sneaking-
special ones,
sneaking on through
the
direct.
big ol' ones. They probably got like holy water on the end of them.
Little Gutenberg Bibles at the end.
These ones are still ours, right? Because I already passed these on.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. How many dead?
So 19 slain here. It should be like one zombie left, I think.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it should be in here though. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11.
I thought you were counting them back for some reason. I mean, you are.
Could be a lone
I
zombie.
know, that's,
So I'm going to
intelligently planned.
Rat.
You can't, it's a GP. It's missile attack.
Now even have
What?
Nope.
Rat.
Cool.
dragon breathing.
That's fine. I'm still laying on the table.
Sorry, roll 2, yeah, that's fine. 9.
Are we correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Are they 2 shots each?
It's, I roll 2 dice or 2? You know what? Just to be sure, let's go with that. So, 2 dice, 2d6.
Cool, we're good.
This time. And it is 9.
Cool.
See?
So,
It was meant to be, man.
That was meant
yep,
to be.
So
Stormcast player.
exactly the same result. They redid things because they weren't
Redid
sure of the
things.
numbers, but 9 more
Yep.
wounds.
You kill 3 dogs.
Yeah, that was meant to be. He's going to shoot them, so it's d6 shots, 4 shots. This
Gardus.
Yes.
Yep.
On 3.
Gardus throwing his hammers. It's Rend 1, 1 damage.
Hammered in. Good old hammered in style from Diablo. Wobble, wobble, wobble.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
So that's it. Shoot. She can't do anything there, so that's fine. I'm going to charge.
Cool.
Charge them. Him, actually.
There should be about 10 minutes left in this round for our chat. Most games are wrapping up here. We've been, it's about 3:50 local time here on the East Coast in Boston. This round started at 1 p.m. Eastern, so 3-hour round. When you're playing Soulblight, you need all the time you can get.
Yep. And for the stream, we typically give them a couple extra minutes simply because they
Yeah, they had
had
extra-
to move everything from the other room. We had to find out who was doing the matchups and then haul them over here.
Yep, and sometimes it takes a little extra time to find somebody to come on stream. You never want to
Rolling 7 dice every 4.
force somebody to play on stream because it can sometimes be a little intimidating for people. So
Finish the charge.
So 4,
Do you take 5 more wounds?
here comes 5 mortal wounds coming from Soulpike that was on this Vanquisher unit. They're outside of the Gardus range.
They do? No, they don't.
They do not fight on death though. They fail their 4-ups.
And one more. Not one more.
Okay.
So don't think he's gonna have enough there to really take the point because he's gonna need to get into the Graveguard, and you
Yep.
do not want to tango with his Graveguard.
Nope.
People in combat.
But maybe next turn, if he wins priority, he's in great shape to go to swing into there.
Yeah.
Although,
Okay.
there we go.
I do. 4, 2.
Alright.
We have a stomp going into that last zombie there,
He'll live.
who lives.
We're gonna get done.
Kind of mistake. I would keep the zombie alive because then it can't come back.
Yep. Someplace else. Yeah.
So I'm doing that way. And make sure that.
So curious to see where he puts these attacks.
I'm going to attack the. And pile up in those GDKs.
Okay.
I'm going to attack the champion with 1. So I'm going to put it on those.
Okay. They're run 2.
They are run 2. Oh, wait, run 2 and 1 1. So.
All defense dogs.
So it sounds like he's putting everything in the dogs.
They're mystic shielded.
Kind of curious. I would have liked to see one.
Bodies.
I'd like to see one potentially swinging at Gardus because Gardus is still on death's door. Literally
This
and
is-
figuratively.
This is the
That's the end of the turn, so I'm
Uh,
So, all that attack.
So all attack coming out of dragons, hitting on 2s with everything, wounding on 3s.
And that's it. So that is all of that. Minus 2 to 6, 7 at minus 2, and 6, 9 at minus 1.
Okay. So 7. I'll be on 5s because I mystic shielded all that defense.
So
So that's
No, the rent 2. We will save 1 and then they're 2 each.
That's 2 each.
Okay, so we have 6 of them, so it'll be 12 damage. So 2, 4, 6. Okay, and then how many of those?
9.
9.
Minus 1.
Okay, these will be on 4s. I will fail 3, 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have these as mortars.
15, right?
Yeah. We'll double check when. 1.
we
2,
do have a result
3,
from our Anthony Lawrence Sam Gould game.
5,
You won.
and 1 wound.
Yep.
Anthony
So
Lawrence
5 dogs and 1
has taken the W with a 5-0 with Slanesh.
2,
So our top 2
3,
will be Anthony Lawrence with Slanesh, followed by Derek with his Legion of Blood at 4 wins, a draw, and I don't know if there's any other. There are a couple other games going
Yeah,
in that 3-win and a loss bracket. That the third place could get changed up a little bit, potentially. But most of these games are wrapped up. And kind of a shout out to Travis Pearson of Wicked Dicey for 4-1 with a gyrocopter and a Stormcast list of sequitur spam.
Games are resolved.
So it looks like he'll probably get best order here. Not a lot of order, mostly death.
Yep.
And yet,
Not a lot of destruction. There's one. I think there's one of each faction for destruction.
yeah, this is
One gets,
which is awesome.
One troll list. And
Was there an ogre player somewhere?
Yes, there is. There's somebody playing monster trucks. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there is a monster truck ogre, so there's one of each of the destructions.
And is Tyler playing the?
There are 2 Soulblight players for every destruction player.
Right. Sounds about right.
We're here. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. One mortal wound and 1 save. So mortal wound. Save. You're right. No. Okay. Okay, I'm going to fight with him.
So, Zombie swung into Gardas, whole lot of nothing, and now Gardas swinging back into zombies. He is, I think, 5 attacks each, 3s and 3s,
Yep.
Ren 1, 2 damage, same as
He
a
only has
Vampire
one
Lord.
wound left, so we'll see what happens.
He's on the
if he
1
kills
left?
him.
I thought he had
He's
2
on-
left before.
I thought it was 1. I could be wrong.
We'll bet to find out.
Nope.
So 2 minus 1, 2 damage.
So,
4 damage.
4 damage, coming into zombies,
I'll take 4.
takes all 4.
No more.
No mortal wounds back, dodges them. Jeffrey put all of Gardas' stat points in agilities for extra dodge chance.
Freeze. So 3, no save, no rend. Okay. 1. Yeah. What did it? Wait. Let it take. Take 2 more.
Then the Lord Castellan finishes off that zombie unit,
He takes
passes. Oh no, he takes 2 mortal wounds.
2 more. Okay. Let it take. Dog. 1 to rend.
Oh, apparently it was his battle tactic for. This one's mine. So still gets it with the Castellan. So looks like. Yeah, looks like he doesn't want to tango with the Graveguard. Very smart idea. Just pick up the zombies. Keep you guys alive for next
Yep.
round to
Yep.
potentially tango. Your bolt storm crossbows are free. They can lend some shooting assistance. So we will see a
5, 6.
1, 2, actually just a 4-point turn here for Stormcast, but still keeps it close to 3 points. So I think the party is going to be huge. Whoever goes top.
Yep.
I think if Mike goes top, then he'll be in great shape.
Or just
Yeah,
wait.
so 4 more turns, that's 2 guys. So 1 can fight in and attack.
Wait, who just punched?
Those guys. Okay. So 1 will, so you said 4, right?
Yep.
So 2 are going to die and 1 can fight in and attack, so do that.
So one of the Vanquishers is able to pile an attack on death.
Now because so 2 attacks, 3s, and so 1.
So there's 1 guy left still?
So one more minus 1 damage. Yeah, 1 damage.
2 more.
So one Vanquisher left in that unit. Still has Soulblight on him, so if that one model charges, he's probably just dead on charge. That spell, pretty good.
That is pretty brutal. Punishes you for doing something you kind of need to do. And
Absolutely.
if you don't do it, then you just stand around.
Absolutely. It's almost like there might be some heads-up Soulblight players that include both that and Spirit Gale in their list.
Yeah, that would be a challenge. A challenge.
With 4 attacks, 5 attacks if there is a champion. 3 threes.
So
So that's
this is now the Vindictors
1 damage.
swinging into the last of the zombies.
Oh, I forgot to explode the mic text. I do the 2 explosion, I forgot on the way pushes. It's 2 mortal wounds.
So additionally, with the explosions from those vanquishers, that does
You are now in 3.
completely.
I didn't check that yet. That was not the intent, but why not?
No, those Graveguard have been pulled in.
Now, the Graveguard have been pulled in by the Vindictors.
That was not the intent, but that's fine.
Not the intent of our Stormcast player, but
do 1, 2, 3,
Mike
4,
taking a
5,
swing
6
here.
Here for the
I was going to kill that, get the double turn, and then crush the.
Okay, so we're gonna have the 4.
So yeah, so on the vanquishes, on
Wherever this speed is.
it's going to be dead.
Okay.
Yeah, so 4 plus. So it's just going to can it fight back? I don't know. Nope, it doesn't.
Okay.
He explodes. Doing 1 mortal wound.
Okay, at the end you'll kill 1 guy.
Yeah, that's good.
And then we will have 6 dudes. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So, essentially, Graveguard now swinging back onto the Vindictors. They are hammers, so on 4-ups they do fight on death, and they get to roll 3 dice for their explosions on death, 2 mortal wounds on 6s.
4 saves, neg 1.
So 4 saves next one.
So here comes 4 saves at neg 1.
So 2 saves, so 3
What's their base?
That's 3.
3. Okay.
So-
It'll be 6 damage.
So 6 damage total coming in the Vindictors. It's going to kill 3 of them.
Those are going to be those 2. Actually, those. So they were going to fly in and attack.
Okay.
Well, can they?
So, roll now.
2.
2 of them do fight on death.
Freeze. And freeze.
How many attacks are they base?
2.
So how many attacks did you roll?
4. Because I'm eating. So 1 minus 1.
Fight on death even if they're killed in shooting.
And the explosion.
So, so,
3.
So.
5. That's 2. Sorry, 2 plus the battle tech. So 2.
so 4.2.
Aren't they named?
Oh, it's no, that's one
Nope.
is 2. So this one is 1
Yes.
plus the commander.
He's a GC?
He's a GC.
Yep.
So you get 4.
So 4-point turn for Stormcast. You give middle objective worth 1, an extra point for Gleason Champ, and a battle tactic.
And yeah,
And now turn 5 priority roll.
I'm going to take it. Just to go on.
Stormcast wins priority.
And
Immediately knows that needed to take it to make something happen here.
kill something on my turn. I'm going to do Arcane Bolt on 9.
Arcane Bolt coming out from the.
Belladonna will do 9 on 9.
Alright, good.
Belnama denies with a 9.
Just these 3 mortal wounds.
On the prayer?
It's an ability.
Okay.
So D3. 3. So I have the eye for an eye.
Eye for an eye achieved already as our battle
I'm gonna
tactics.
spend the CP, I'm gonna finally hear his face. My heroic action is gonna be best save or unbearable.
Alright.
The realm command for the heroic action or the GC in the hero phase to fight, but then becomes fight last in the combat phase.
Yep.
So that's still a go. That's fine. So those are going
So,
to move.
probably be a very quick turn here from Stormcast, not a whole lot.
Sorry. There was an entire point I did this.
Your age?
Well, we're impossible.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
That's why
We're going to.
Can you go?
I
to
fly.
northeast?
I'm attacking combat.
Alright.
So, flying the Vampire Lord over with the 3-inch pile-in to tag the Bolt Storms into
So
combat.
I can see, so 5 and I can see those guys. Yes. So those 5 can shoot them.
Is it this one unit?
Yeah, well, they could if these guys did.
So,
Alright.
gonna have to rely on the dragon shooting, then the
Yeah,
Gardas
exactly, I have to
Hammer
rely on
Storm
the-
to pick up the Vampire Lord so he can
Yep.
shoot the Bolt Storms.
And it's Hail Mary, but
But
that's what I have.
I think Mike pretty much has this in his bag because he will go last, make sure he controls his grave sites, and picks up his Grand Strat.
Yeah.
So
We in 5.
You're in 5.
Yeah,
this
this
fi-
is top of 5.
and everything else is ended. So just keep it to like the important parts.
yeah, I'm gonna mute the stream for a second as we help inform our players.
Yep.
So 2d6 breaths.
I don't know why. So
Oh.
let's do that again.
Here we go.
So 1d6.
1d6 mortal wounds.
3 mortal wounds.
3 mortal wounds coming from the Dragon Breath on that Vampire Lord.
He'll take 3.
Taking 3. I think he's got 2 left. Ken Gardas, pick him up.
I'll defense him.
Yeah. So
All
4
defense.
on 3s. And on 3s. 2 minus 1.
2 minus 1. Can he do it?
Saves.
And the saves.
That one vampire holding off an empire.
And I
Oh,
think
I'm
that's.
sorry. Did you just skip through movement? Like, you're not going to move him?
No, I don't want you to really play.
I'm sorry. Okay, I feel my grave things.
And I think this game is
Yeah.
pretty
So
much set then.
I'll shoot everything on you, and it's going to be dead.
Yeah, cool. You got it, man.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the rend on it?
It's -2, and so I have 5 shot -2 and 3.
I'm a 2-up save. I'll be a 3-up on your minus. So, like,
Do you want me to roll?
just roll the double hit ones.
Yeah, so.
Yeah,
that-
because those are -1.
So those are now, there are 7 of them, so it's 14, so that's 6.
Are those on rend 2 or rend 1?
So I'm going to use.
Those are no rends, the
No
double
rend.
hits
Those are no
ones.
rend?
No, it's the other ones that are rend 2, 2 damage. So it just rolls.
Yeah, just roll them. Because, like, if he
It's-
lives, then you can't charge.
I use this team, I also to hit on 2s. So
Beautiful.
that's on 3, so 1 save -2.
Okay.
That was 1 save at -2.
And that's.
Fortunately, all of the shooting now having to go into that Vampire Lord.
Like that.
Pesky little Vampire Lord.
That's all of that for the attacks.
2, 4, 6, so 15.
Yeah.
7, 8, 9. 11, 12.
How many wounds do you have?
These are going to be on 2s.
All defense, so saving most of these on 2-ups. Fails one of those.
That's feel that. So here's
So 3 wounds going through, 6 upwards.
take 1.
And he only takes 1.
So you can't charge.
1 wound left on that Vampire Lord. Eats
No.
all of the shooting.
No, like if you would have killed him, you could have charged here.
So-
but now you're just stuck.
I'm not going to.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
So I think it's going to be another 4-point turn for Stormcast.
So now I'm going to.
You're going to pick him up.
Stomp him.
You got it, man.
And we'll be on
Alright,
4
so
points.
it is- And you know,
Well, roll the die.
Which one?
The stomp, because if you fail it. Okay, then roll d3. Oh my god, you killed him.
All right.
Okay.
Then I would activate those first.
Those?
So 5 attacks.
Well,
I'm going.
how many attacks?
5.
And then just pick them up.
All right. So that's below what I wanted.
So.
That's fine. So it's 1,
So.
2, 3, 4.
4-point turn for Stormcast.
And I will
And
make
then-
the grand strike.
No Grand Strat, so
I'll
he's
get my
capped
grand
at
strat.
20. Mike's going to talk out his points.
1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Mike's automatically holding the home objective for 2 points.
Yeah, and then
Other objective for
my
1 point.
Necromancer is going to cunning maneuver.
Yeah. And
Because
you
he's the
can
tunnel
master.
master. Yeah.
So
So I'll get my battle tactic.
You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And then I'm just going to run and
Oh.
hold my grave sites.
Essentially, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then
Grand strat.
Grand Strat 1, 2, 3 for a 27 to 20 finale here. Round 5, Ironweld GT.
They're shaking hands.
You hate to see another Soulblight win, but
If you guys don't mind popping in your scores, I think this is one of the, if not the
Yep.
last table they're
So,
waiting on. And,
Justin and I,
yeah.
Josh and I are gonna. Oh my God, I'm gonna call you Justin.
Justin.
Long weekend.
apparently. It's fine. I
Yeah.
understand.
We're gonna be
It's great. 27 to 20 is what we got.
27 to 20. I trust you.
We were not recording your battle tactics, just the score. So.
Yeah, I failed one.
Yeah.
I boldly tried to murder some
Yeah.
dragons.
Well,
Yep.
this was
So-
great. Appreciate everyone tuning in.
Thank you for
Number
joining
of
me.
good streams.
Ironweld GT, that wraps it up for here. We will have a stream back at the Everwinter GT in December.
Yep.
Same area in the Boston, not necessarily at this venue. You could check out the details at wickeddicey.com.
That's right. And every Friday morning on the same channel, there will be the 0 and 5 show, 5 and 0 show, whatever they want to call it. It's basically just chit-chatting in the morning. But good stuff. All right.
And that
It's
is
been
us.
fun, and we are out.
Signing off. This has been Emma and Josh. You can catch Josh. Do you have any social media to catch you at?
Not. I mean, I gotta. What is it?
You got Twitter.
Cheers_Josh.
On Twitter.
On
and
Twitter.
I'm at yes no something.
Yeah, that's right.
It's literally just yes no
Yes,
something.
no, something.
So, thank you for joining us, and have a great weekend.